Welcome to yet another video. In this first episode of the story, after 8 long years of enduring an unjust and miserable life, the very heavens themselves decide to intervene on young Naruto's behalf. But what will their cosmic interference spell for the world of Shinobi? He receives a gift so profound, it is considered legendary even in a world where people walk on water every day. Will this divine gift lead him to the peace he's always craved, or will its effects leave a hole in his heart too big to fill? Please support us by liking and subscribing. Let's get started now. It's been 8 years since the dreaded Kyubi no Yoko laid waste to the once great Konoha, and even though their buildings were repaired, the wounds were still fresh. The mighty beast seemed unstoppable, easily plowing through the forces of Leaf Nin that dared stand against it. The Yondaime, the greatest hero Konoha has ever had, sacrificed his life to call forth the Shinigami itself in order to finally stop the beast. The great Kyubi was once again sealed into a host, a small blonde-haired child by the name of Uzumaki Naruto. The Sandaime, Hiruzen Sarutobi, reclaimed the Kage hat and led his people in their time of need. The elderly Hokage knew he couldn't keep the young Jinchuriki a secret from the village and tried his best to ensure the child at the very least had a future with children his age. The Sandaime passed an S-ranked law concerning Naruto. No one was to speak of his blessing to the younger generation or faced death. The Sandaime also passed into law a zero tolerance for those asserted of child abuse, any caught would face death. Even with those laws in place, once the village was informed of Naruto's blessing, his life of horror began. Every year, the beatings got worse and the villagers grew more and more irate at their failures. No matter how they abused him, tortured him, or shunned him, he kept coming back. To them, the Kyubi was laughing at them. Not only did it take away their loved ones, it walked among them in the flesh of a child. Civilians, even some nin of Chunin and Genin rank, made it a daily task to harass Naruto in some way. With the Hokage so busy repairing the village and no one reporting the many beatings Naruto received, hardly anyone was ever executed for harming the boy. To the villagers of Konoha, their treatment of Naruto was just. After all, they were only punishing the vile beast that killed their sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, grandparents and so on. Unknown to the villagers or anyone of that world, high above in a dimension unseen, lays a group of beings. The group of beings is gathered around a hole below them that shows the happenings of Konoha. This is sickening. You'd think after 8 years they'd cut the kid some slack, one of the beings says. The being is a tall man of exceptional build. His bronze skin shines a heavenly glow that betrays his rugged and hard appearance in both body and face. I must agree with Apollo, their actions are truly unbecoming, another being says. This being is a shapely woman of divine beauty. Her vanilla skin radiates brilliantly and her dark brown hair flows in an unnatural breeze. No matter how unbecoming their actions are, we are not allowed to interfere, a stern being says. This being is the tallest among the group, his skin is peachy and sandy blonde hair graces his arms and body. The being known as Apollo sighs, he looks into the hole and sees Naruto being chased by a mob of villagers. The fools, this is what happens when mortals are given power they cannot comprehend. Instead of trying to cater to the child and ensuring he is loyal to them, they treat him like dirt and only ensure the kid becomes the monster they fear. Apollo says sagely. If there was one thing Apollo had long forgotten, it was how mortals justified the many horrors they seemed to find themselves in. Well, what can you do? You know, if either of us were to go down there, it would disrupt the balance that was established long before we were even created, the female being says. She leans back and seemingly floats lazily in the space they were in. Balance? How is that balance? All the negativity they're force-feeding that kid, where's the positivity? Besides the old Hokage, no one even gives the kid the time of day, unless it's to beat his face in. I mean, isn't that kid an innocent? Doesn't the unjust called his life deserve a little divine intervention? Apollo asks passionately. For 8 years, Apollo watched over Naruto. He saw how the Kyubi Jinchuriki constantly got the short end of the life stick, how he was abused in every way possible and enough was enough. What really made Naruto worth it was that not even once did he wish harm on the village. All he wanted was someone to care, someone to see him. From your logic, then all the mistreated mortals deserve our intervention. What of the Ichibi Jinchuriki? If anything, his case is worse than the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Should he not get our intervention based on your logic? The tallest being asked. Apollo was silenced. He had to admit his friend had a point. Alright Athens, I'll give you that. In that case, why don't we help him too? Apollo says as if doing so was the simplest thing to do. The being known as Athens sighed deeply. There was no arguing with Apollo once he had his mind made up. I know what you're thinking, Apollo. It's foolish to think you, of all people, could help that doomed world. That world is destined to be destroyed by its own people and it is our job to simply watch it happen. Athens replies. Apollo just couldn't accept that. I refuse to believe there's no hope for that place. Besides, I'm not the type to just sit around and watch the action from the sidelines. If that world is doomed, I want to be there and watch it all go to hell. Apollo says, making his way towards the hole. Before he can step in, Athens pushes him aside as a legion of angels surrounds them. I'm afraid I can't let you do that, old friend. Athens says. Apollo isn't that surprised really. Athens never was one to get his hands dirty. Come on Apollo, why not just forget about it? There are plenty of other worlds that are far more interesting. Like the one where pirates are made of rubber or the one where souls can bleed, the female being says, trying to calm the tense situation. Apollo just chuckles. Honestly, she could have come up with a better lie than that. Souls, honestly, Amira? A soul that bleeds blood, I call bullshit. I know you're trying to get me to stay, but that's just retarded. Apollo says. I'm serious though. Whenever this kid with orange hair turns into a Shinigami and gets cut, freaking blood comes out of the wound. Amira exclaims. Alright, even Apollo had to admit, that sounded interesting, Shinigami's bleeding blood? Deciding to humor her, Apollo soars over to Amira's side of space and gazes at a world Amira points to. As she said, Apollo watches as beings calling themselves Shinigami fight creatures known as hollows to the death. Both beings are assumed dead, but each can bleed and have organs, even though they were souls. Well, take my grace and call me fallen, a bleeding Shinigami. I'll save that world for later observation, but that won't be enough to keep me from doing this. Apollo yells, thrusting his right hand forward. A ring of white fire spews at Athens and his legion. Athens and his legion soar away from the speeding ring, giving Apollo just enough time to make a break for the hole. When he passes Amira, he gives her a look that asks, "Coming with me?" Without a word, Amira follows after him. Stop them immediately. Athens commands as the legion give chase. Before they can reach them in time, Apollo and Amira cross through the hole and enter the world of Naruto. The legion of angels stop, not daring to enter the dimensional hole into the realm of mortals, and can only watch the two crash land in the world of mortals. They've sealed their fates to give up your grace and become a fallen angel for a mortal child, Athens thinks to himself, shedding a tear for his now ex-comrades. There was no place in the heavens for them now. Just outside of Konoha, the two fallen land gracefully just outside of Konohagakure, and through their eyes the infamous barrier bars their access inside. So how much of our powers were forfeited? Apollo asks his companion, who closes her eyes in concentration. After a few minutes, she opens her eyes and gives her assessment. I'd say we've lost all our cosmic powers, but kept all the knowledge you've no doubt been collecting on this world. Mind sharing it with me? Apollo chuckles and gives her a chaste kiss on the lips. A flood of information rushes through her mind and she instantly knows all he knows. She learns about chakra, ninjutsu, fuinjutsu, genjutsu, taijutsu, kenjutsu, and various other art forms in this world of ninja. This explains why you spent the last 8 years training alone. Well, a lot of my skills should fall under kenjutsu, taijutsu, and a few ninjutsu, but I'll need to practice to be anywhere near as good as I need to be. Amira states, not too pleased with her current level compared to her old. Apollo walks to the edge of the barrier and analyzes it with keen eyes. If we're going to be staying here, I'll have to subtly add our chakra to the barrier so the people keeping the barrier up won't alert the authorities to our presence. We need to make contact with Naruto, before we have an audience with the leader of this village. Apollo explains before he makes Hokage Bunshin for each edge of the barrier. Placing his hands one of the circles, each copy of Apollo starts to add his chakra signature to the barrier at a slow yet constant rate. Alright Amira-chan, all I need is for you to touch me and give me some of your chakra. Apollo directs, keeping his mind on the task at home. Amira giggles and touches him by grabbing his lower head. Amira-chan, I meant my back, but this works too. You better finish what you started later. Apollo says with a perverse grin that is shared by Amira. Once their chakra is safely ingrained in the sensing system, Kangchi Shishidamu, they effortlessly walk inside the barrier and wait to see if any Umbu surround them. After 5 minutes of nothing happening, Apollo sighs in relief. Thank Kami I spied on the Hokage extensively during those 8 years. The old man should really stop using the water ball sensing jutsu to spy on Naruto. It totally gave away how a part of the barrier works. With that taken care of, the two enter Konoha via wall, walking up the gate to avoid the gatekeepers. Oh, by the way, we need to get some clothes. Apollo states, bringing attention to their nudity. Amira scoffs at the mere notion of covering up her sexiness. Someone doesn't want to play patty cake. In a back alley in Konohagakure, an 8-year-old Naruto lay in an alley staring up into the star-filled skies. His body was badly beaten, blood pooled from various injuries, and yet he felt no pain. His body was already healing the wounds, even though he had no conscious say in the matter. A life of constant torture must have increased his body's healing rate in order to survive this long. Naruto racked his brain over and over again for answers. Why did the villagers hate him so much? What could he have possibly done to warrant such malice? No matter how he begged, the beatings continued. It had been only a week after the orphanage kicked him out and he found refuge inside a discarded box. Only problem was it made him an easy target for the villagers to find. Waiting on the numbing pain to wear off, Naruto found comfort in stargazing. In his childlike mind, Naruto saw himself as a bright star in the sky. All the other stars were dim compared to him. He was the brightest star of all. I hope this kid is worth all the trouble we're going to be in once Athens tells the High Council about this. Amira says, looking down at Naruto from a rooftop. Upon seeing him in such a broken state, some of her doubt was lifted. If helping this kid is wrong, I don't know what right is. You worry too much, Ira-chan. Look at this kid and tell me what we're doing is wrong. Apollo challenges. Amira just sighs, there's nothing she can do now. Hopping from the rooftop, Naruto is shocked when the two people seemingly appear out of nowhere. Who are you guys? What do you want? Naruto asks, trying to make sense of the situation. Apollo and Amira stop and look at Naruto. Apollo gazes deep into Naruto's soul and decides to ask him one question. What would you do with power? Apollo asks. Naruto looks at him like he's crazy, gaining Apollo's ire. I asked you a question, damn it. What would you do with power? Apollo asks with more power. Naruto cowers under him and struggles to find an answer. I don't know. I mean, the first thing I'd do is protect myself from people who want to hurt me, Naruto says. Apollo expected this. I see, tell me, what about the people of this village? Would you protect them? Apollo asks. This question caught Naruto off guard, but he already had an answer. I'd protect the people of this village. I mean, a lot of people are jerks to me, but there are a few people who treat me nice, and I figured, why stoop to those jerks' level? Hokage Gigi once told me, power used for anything besides the greater good isn't true power. It is a self-generating power and is limited to oneself, whatever that means. Naruto replies. His answer makes Apollo and Amira laugh heartedly. Oh, this is so worth losing my grace. Hello little one, you can call me Apollo, and this points to Amira is my dearest companion Amira. Apollo introduces them. Apollo leans down to eye level with Naruto and holds out his hand in a friendly gesture. Naruto carefully analyzes the two strangers for any falsity. The one called Apollo was tall, standing at 6 foot 9 inches, his black hair was tied into a ponytail that reached past his shoulders. His chocolate skin was unique, as Naruto had never seen someone with skin that dark, and his golden eyes seemed to gaze beyond the stars themselves. Apollo wore a dark gray trench coat with a no-sleeved black shirt and matching knee pants with combat boots. Upon seeing Amira, Naruto couldn't help but blush. Amira was stunningly beautiful with caramel skin, and dark brown hair wrapped in a loose bun with a long strand hanging in her face. Amira's violet eyes burned with a mysterious flame, but what really caught Naruto and Apollo's attention was that she wore no clothes. I thought we discussed this on the way here. Mortals wear clothes. Apollo says, trying his best to not be affected by Amira's modesty. And I told you I'm maybe mortal now, but I don't wanna. Amira replied. Apollo just palms his face. Touching Amira's solar plexus, Apollo seals Amira via a storage seal on his person as a phoenix tattoo appears on his arm. Naruto is left boggled by the strange actions of the mysterious stranger. Trust me kid, we would have been here all day had I not done that. Apollo explains. And just what did you do, and what do you want with me, and who are you, and why are you here? Naruto asks hurriedly, having to catch his breath afterwards. Apollo sighs and scratches his chin in order to think of the answers. Well, to put it simply, I put her in a timeout dimension. The tattoo represents she's sealed. As for what I want with you, you could say I've come to help you. Apollo replies to the questions he can remember. Naruto looks at Apollo in disbelief. Was he serious? You want to help me? Why? Naruto asks, as if helping him was a taboo or something. Hell, in Konohagakure it was. Because I can. Apollo says simply. Next thing he knows, Naruto has latched onto him with tears flowing. Finally, Naruto had someone who wanted to help him. He finally had a friend. So what are you going to be teaching me, Apollo nii-san? Naruto asks. Apollo chuckles at the honorific. I'm going to teach you how to be a true shinobi, Naruto-kun. Apollo says to say Naruto was excited was an understatement. Naruto was ecstatic. Not only did he make 2 new friends, but one of them was going to teach him the ways of the shinobi. He was jumping for joy, screaming his praise loud enough for some villagers to hear him. It's the demon. Hey guys, we found him, a villager says. Soon, more villagers begin to pile into the narrow alley, sealing Naruto and Apollo inside. Run nii-san, Naruto whispered urgently. The last thing he wanted was for his new friend to be punished because of him. Apollo looks at the villagers with nothing but disgust. He calmly walks over to one of the villagers, the man seemingly unaware of his presence. With swift hands, Apollo gives the man an atomic wedgie and then drives his knee into the man's chin, instantly knocking him out. What the hell did you do, you damn demon? A nervous villager says, having second thoughts about attacking the great Kyuubi. Before anyone knows what's going on, Apollo rushes 2 of the villagers and clotheslines them both with his steel-like biceps. Not giving the villagers any warning, Apollo dashes around the villagers, punching and kicking them in odd areas of the body. More than a few villagers found themselves getting struck in the throat hard enough to nearly crush their windpipes. Others were struck repeatedly in the center of their chest until their chest bone was crushed. One unlucky fellow found the center of his head penetrated by Apollo's index finger. Blood seeps from wound. By this time, the remaining villagers ran screaming in fear, hoping some leaf nin would come to slay the demon. Much to their luck, for Chunnin respond to their cries. The Chunnin leader sees multiple bodies littered in the alley and one beaten and bloody Uzumaki. Naruto, he's seen enough. Finally showing your true colors, a demon? I knew Hokage-sama made a fatal mistake by protecting you. Squad, bring it down by any means, the Chunin leader says, backing away from the alley. The 3 remaining Chunin enter the alley, hands blurring in hand signs. Naruto stared at Apollo in complete awe. How come no one seemed to notice Apollo standing right there? His body was even covered in the blood of the fallen villagers. Apollo just scoffs at the display, placing his left palm over his right and rubs them in a circular manner from left to right 24 times. His palms glow with an intense red aura before interlocking his fingers outside, with the middle fingers, representing the fire element, extended with their tips touching. Focusing the chakra into the tips of his fingers, Apollo visualizes 2 Hydra Draconians spinning around his fingers. Naruto's eyes threaten to pop from his eyes when he sees 2 huge snake-like creatures spin around Apollo's fingers. They roar grisly, but the Chunins don't seem to notice at all. What the hell was going on here? The Chunins finally finished the hand signs for their respective jutsus. Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu, one Chunin yells, a massive ball of flames shoots from his mouth and roars towards Apollo and Naruto. Doton, Doriyuso, the other Chunin proclaims, earth spikes protrude from the ground and race towards the duo. Katan, Hozenka no Jutsu, the last Chunin says, firing a volley of controlled fire sparks at the 2. Apollo calmly stirs the 2 Hydra Draconians, feeding more of the intense red chakra into them. The 2 herders grow steadily, until they're the size of mountain lions. Extending his index fingers and curling the corresponding middle finger around each while keeping his other fingers interlocked, Apollo aims the hydras at the upcoming attacks. Now feed my spawn, feed on the fools who oppose you. Apollo declares. The spawn roar hungrily, jumping off their routine and spiraling towards the 3 attacks. The Chunins are struck with fear as the spawn become clearly visible to them. Once the attacks make contact, the spawn easily devour each attack. If any of the earth spikes struck the spawn, another head would appear where it was hit and devour the spike. Once the spawn were done with their appetizers, they roar towards the main course. The Chunin flee screaming in terror, but they don't make it far. The Chunin leader watches in horror as his team is devoured by demonic snakes and their screams echo throughout Konohagakure. Their bones were easily crushed and blood splashes all over the alley. Once the spawn are done, they glare at the Chunin leader with a bloodlust that grips even the seasoned leaf Nin in his place. Before they can charge, Apollo summons them back into his body. Placing his right palm over his left, Apollo rubs them in a circular manner from right to left 12 times. This time, black aura seeps from his palms. Apollo disappears and reappears in front of the Chunin leader, and before the leader knew it, he left as if his life was being drained from his body. Unknown to him, Apollo had reversed the flow of his chakra in his hands, allowing his chakra to act like a vacuum that sucked the chakra from his body, quite painfully. The Chunin leader couldn't even scream as his life left his body and he fell to the ground dead. The display left the entire village in an uproar. Before long, the Hokage and his Umbu arrived on the scene. What they saw was like something from a veteran nin's worst nightmare. Blood was everywhere, along with half-digested body parts and one dead Chunin. In the middle of all this, was little Naruto, who had a look of sheer terror and awe on his face. Naruto couldn't move, his mind tried to warp itself around what just happened in front of him. Apollo easily handled the villagers and even the Nin that threatened him. He risked his life for his. Naruto, what happened here? The Hokage asks with the utmost seriousness. Naruto flinches under the glare of his Jiji. What was he going to say? Apollo walks over to Naruto and whispers into his ear. Even though he was truly confused, he repeated everything Apollo said. Making war is not hard, keeping the peace is hard. That is why the ninja, who value peace and harmony above all else, have gone to such great lengths over many centuries to canonize and preserve these methods. And why? Because it is so simple. The techniques have often been turned to revenge or used to raise an army quickly. When there is no justice, the ninja appear. They are not called to action by anyone. They are just ordinary people in extraordinary situations. They need not have a clan or credentials or even a great deal of training. They only need the will. Naruto's words shocked everyone, even the Hokage. Gopher, clear the area of all bystanders. Cobra, I want to know what happened here, question every villager you can. Naruto, I believe we need to talk my boy, the Hokage orders. The Gopher masked and Cobra masked Umbu salute their leader and Shunshin in a puff of smoke. The Hokage walks over to Naruto and hugs his adoptive grandson lovingly. The old man was deeply troubled, saddened and furious at what he suspected happened to the boy, but what happened? Had he pushed too far and the fox intervened? Why hadn't he felt the demonic chakra associated with the Kyuubi? All these questions would have to wait. For now, he needed to get Naruto cleaned up and figure out why he wasn't in the orphanage. Maybe it's time for me to step down. I'm in my golden years, spending that time putting up with ungrateful civilians and egoistical shinobi, the 60-year-old Hokage sighs. On his desk was a summons from the Council of Konoha. A summons for him, the Hokage of all people. Tonight looked to be a really long one for the old man. He had Cobra's reports from the eyewitnesses to the onslaught that occurred in his village walls. According to the reports, Naruto, or the demon if you use the villagers' words, attacked helpless civilians and even Leaf Nin that came to their assistance. Do they honestly expect me to believe an 8-year-old child defeated 4 of my shinobi? The Sandaime asks aloud. The old Hokage takes out his pipe and takes a long, deep drag before exhaling the smoke. Calming his nerves, the Sandaime couldn't help but feel dread over the entire situation. Even though he was sure the villagers provoked the attack, the fact of the matter was Naruto was in deep trouble. If he truly used the Kyuubi's Yukai, then the villagers' claims of him being the demon incarnate would be all the more creditable. Speaking of Naruto, the Sandaime made sure the medic Nin that treated him were not only the best, but were loyal to him and the Yondaime. It warmed his heart to see some villagers honored their fallen leaders' last wishes. Still, there were a lot of variables that didn't add up to the Sandaime. Why was Naruto not at the orphanage? Why were his clothes so poor and his body so sickly? The Hokage donated funds to the orphanage every week to ensure Naruto and the other victims of the Kyuubi attack were all well taken care of. K9, the Sandaime declares. In a puff of smoke, a dog-masked Umbu appears and kneels before his leader. Yes, Hokage-sama? K9 asks awaiting his orders. I want you to investigate the orphanage Naruto is assigned. You are to take every staff member to the TNI department for questioning. I want answers at any cost, the Sandaime replies with absolute authority. The amount of Ki leaking off the Hokage was enough to get his point across as K9 rose to his feet, bowed and left to follow his orders. The Sandaime sighs and takes another long drag of his pipe. It was long overdue that the villagers understood that shinobi villages were run in a dictatorship and the Kage was the dictator. Konoha Hospital. Naruto found himself inside a private room of the hospital. It was nice to not have to worry about being poisoned or having his bones rearranged awkwardly. Normally his trips to the hospital are filled with dread and the fear of death, but this time he couldn't be happier. Sitting in a chair by his side is none other than the man that saved his life, Apollo. Looking at his savior, Naruto could see he is in deep thought about something and Apollo was indeed in deep thought, or a deep conversation with one Amira. I can't believe you sent me to the void, you asshole. Amira screeches from the void. Apollo resists the urge to rub his temples to soothe his raging headache. If you would put on some clothes, I wouldn't have to send you there. Apollo replies. Amira just huffs and places her hands on her hips. Why would a higher being degrade herself by wearing clothes? Besides, you know, clothes just burn right off of me. I'm far too hot, no pun intended. Amira says. Apollo could only sigh. She did have a point there. Fine, then at least cover yourself. We don't need to traumatize young Naruto here. Apollo replies. Amira just giggles. And what, pray tell, is so traumatizing about all this? Amira asks, moving her body seductively. Apollo just rolls his eyes. Please, I've explored every inch of that body and I can tell you for a fact, your body is deadly. Hell, your vagina can melt rocks, Apollo says, effectively silencing Amira. I really hate it when you make sense. Fine, if I cover up will you let me out? Please Lolo-kun. Amira asks sweetly. Fine, but never call me that in front of any mortal or I won't buy you any candy. Apollo declares. Amira gasps, no candy? She wouldn't risk that for anything. Sticking out her tongue, Amira places a mystical seal on it and the word Lolo appears before a X cross through it. She snaps her fingers as red and gold feathers molt and form a long, figure-friendly dress. Happy? Amira asks with a huff. Ryu. Apollo declares, assuming the same hand sign, fingers interlocked outside, with the middle fingers extended with their tips touching. Naruto saw him use during the battle in the alley, only this time instead of an red aura, a yellow radiates from his hands. Kyo. Apollo declares, assuming the second hand sign, extending the index fingers and curling the corresponding middle finger around each while keeping the other fingers interlocked. A white aura shines brilliantly from the base of his privates and travels up the center of his body before blending with the yellow aura. Chujiku Kuchios no Jutsu. Apollo whispers, slamming both hands on the ground. The two aura form a circular pattern in front of Apollo as rays of light shot from it. From the aura portal soars Amira dressed in her feather dress. Naruto's young mind went on overload from the events that played out before him as he lost consciousness. Why does every guy I met always faint? Amira asks with a pout. How was she going to find a man if they kept passing out? Beats me, it's not really that impressive. Apollo replies, earning Amira's ire. Who needs a man when I have someone like you? Amira says. Sarcastically. Exactly my point, now we need to discuss what we're going to do now. Apollo says, all humor gone from his tone. Amira sits on Apollo's lap and makes herself comfortable. We could always just take him with us. It's not like he'll be missed. Amira says. Apollo couldn't deny the truth in her statement, besides if they wanted to, they could easily walk right out of the village with Naruto and no one would be the wiser. Nah, that'd be too easy. Plus I don't want to deal with the hunter Nin they'd send after the kid. What I propose we do, is pose as a wandering couple of a near-extinct clan. Apollo suggests, his reward is Amira planting a tender kiss on his lips. See what happens when you actually use your brain? Everyone knows Konoha places Kekkei Genkai above all else. Still, we would need something unique in order to ensure we can stay here with Naru-chan. Amira says. Apollo rubs his chin in order to think. Which would be more appropriate for the couple? A Kekkei Genkai are far too common in Konoha and Kekkei Tota require nature manipulation, something he could easily perform, but didn't fit his style. Apollo was known as the chaotic general back in his dimension due to his insane number of family/soldiers he commanded. That's it. From now on, we will be of the Alexandros clan and our ability will be Meshidesu Tetsuka. We'll even get the family to join. After all, the more numbers we have, the better our chances are. Apollo replies excitedly. It wasn't every day he got to create his own abilities. Amira was just as excited as Apollo was, hugging her man for dear life. Oh my Kami! You amazing man you! When will you summon them? Amira asks, the thought of seeing her comrades/loved ones was too much to contain. Apollo gently removes Amira from his lap and gets out of the chair. Right now, I need you to accompany Naruto to meet the Hokage. Give the old man this summons one of his spawn, removes its eye and hands it to Amira and explain our plan to him. Tell him to wait for me before his meeting with the council. Apollo says, before a dimensional rift opens beneath him and he falls in. Placing the spawn eye inside her dress before she walks over to Naruto. Amira extends her index fingers with her other fingers interlocked as a green aura pools from the center of her chest and enters Naruto's body. When she releases the hand sign, Naruto begins to stir until he's awake. Upon waking up, Naruto notices Apollo is gone and is instantly saddened, until he feels a soft hand caress his face. He turns to see Amira, thankfully dressed, sitting where Apollo was before. Where did Apollo nii-san go? Naruto asks. Amira just giggles and rubs his head affectionately. Little Naru-chan is worried about Apollo-kun. Relax little one, Apollo simply went to get the rest of our clansmen and left me here to keep you company. Amira says with a warm smile. Naruto can't help the blush that graces his face. This was the first time he had such extended contact with a girl, let alone a woman of Amira's beauty. Amira could only squeal at how adorable Naruto was. Clansman, so you and Apollo nii-san are a part of a clan like the Hyuga and Uchiha? Naruto asks. Amira frowns at the mention of Uchiha, but replaces it with a smile. Please don't compare our clan with such low lives. Unlike the Uchiha, we work hard for the arts we hold and we are more diverse. No one in our clan, besides Apollo and I, have the same abilities. In fact, Apollo and I were discussing adopting you into our clan, but that's something we'll have to discuss with your Hokage. Can you walk? Amira asks. Naruto couldn't believe his ears. Someone actually thought about adopting him into their clan? From what he saw, clans lived a life of luxury. Snapping out of his thoughts, Naruto gets out of bed. Good, I think it's about time we explained what happened before the entire villager tries to kill you. Which will result in the Alexandros clan slaughtering all that try. Amira says with a chilling sweetness. Naruto swallows the lump he didn't know he had. Something told him not to get on Amira's bad side with that. The two leave the hospital before Amira kneels down in front of Naruto. It'd probably be best if I piggybacked you there. It's faster and we can avoid those jerk-off villagers. Amira says as the two share a warm laugh. Naruto climbs on Amira's back as she leaps on the hospital roof in a single bond and races towards the Hokage tower. To all those that were aware enough, Naruto seemed to be riding thin air as he raced from rooftop to rooftop. This didn't go unnoticed by Naruto, who witnessed how no one seemed to be able to see Apollo in the alley. Amira-ne-chan, how come no one seems to be able to see you or nii-san? Naruto asks. This is a secret, so no telling anyone or I'll literally seal your mouth shut, got it? Amira threatened, releasing a small amount of ki, but to Naruto it was like being in Yuki no Kuni with no clothes on. He wisely agreed with a nod as the oppressive aura lifted. To put it simply, we have learned the means to be invisible in the presence of the enemy, to penetrate unseen anywhere, and to pass without leaving a trace. It is known as the silent way. Amira explains. Naruto remains silent and just absorbs all he's learning. To conceal yourself to the point even trained shinobi can't see you is truly formidable. How come I can see you then? Naruto asks curiously. It's simple really. You can see us because we let you. In this entire village, you and perhaps the Hokage are the only people who we would allow to see us, at least for now. Amira explains. Before more can be said, they reach the Hokage tower as Amira lets Naruto down. With the Hokage tower before them, Naruto's nerves began to unravel as his body shook in fear. Amira rubs her hands together much like Apollo did, left to right, and places them on Naruto's shoulders. His fears are instantly calmed as Amira leans close to his ear. No need to fear, Naru-chan. For I will be your silent guardian and I will protect you with my life. Amira reassures. For the first time, Naruto truly feels safe as he walks into the Hokage tower. He ignores the glare from the receptionist as he makes his way to the Hokage's office. Amira, on the other hand, decided to stay behind for a bit. Before the receptionist knew what happened, she was slapped across the face so hard, blood dripped from her mouth and ear. Satisfied, Amira caught up to Naruto as they both entered the Hokage's office. Naruto, I was just about to send someone to check on you, the Sandaime says, somewhat surprised Naruto made it here so soon after being admitted to the hospital. Before Naruto can even speak, would you mind asking your friend to drop the genjutsu? It's quite rude to hide in the face of a Kage in his own office, the Sandaime says, not even hinting at being worried. You don't grow to be his age without learning a thing or two. The silent way was a lost art that stopped just after his generation, still he had to admit the stranger had mastered the skill to be able to conceal themselves to the degree his umbu couldn't sense them. With the mention of an intruder, 16 umbu surround Naruto, hands on their respective weapons ready to strike. I should have known better than to give you anything besides my best Hokage-sama. I would also like to mention I am not using a genjutsu, in fact I can't use them. Amira states, revealing herself to everyone present. The Sandaime had to use a rather advanced genjutsu to hide the blood that seeped out his nose, but Amira could smell the blood. In fact, she could smell the hormones coming off most of the umbu, she could only sigh. If you would please call off your umbu, I have information about young Naruto-chan you might be interested in. I believe this information should answer all your questions about what happened in the alley. Amira states. With a wave of his hand, the umbu reluctantly leave the room in a shunshin. Amira takes out the spawn eye and throws it on the ground. In a flash of light, the events of the alley are replayed through the eyes of the spawn. Once the event has passed, the Hokage takes a deep drag and sighs. How the hell was he going to explain this? As you could see, my husband was well within his rights to protect Naruto-chan. In fact, you could say we have taken a liking to Naruto-chan. Amira says, pinching his cheek. The Sandaime smiles at the show of affection, not being able to sense any ill intent from the woman. There is a matter that my husband and I wish to discuss with you and your council. We are aware that the events in the alley would draw quite the commotion and figured this would be the best opportunity to make a proposal. Amira says. This caught the Sandaime's attention and a part of him was hoping the proposal was X-rated. What might this proposal be? The Sandaime asks. Why to become a clan for Konoha and adopt Naruto-chan into our clan, of course. Amira says simply. To say the Hokage hadn't expected that was like saying the Uchiha didn't steal jutsus. For an unknown clanswoman to walk into his office and not only ask for refuge, but to also adopt the village pariah was almost unbelievable to the Sandaime. The old Hokage couldn't help but laugh at the situation. Oh, the irony. In one foul swoop, he could keep his promise to keep Naruto safe. May I know the name of your clan and yourself before I make a decision? The Sandaime asks. Not that he needed to think about it. True, he needed the approval of the Shinobi Council and Elder Council in order to instate a clan in his village, but who would turn down an unknown clan? Certainly, my name is Amira Alexandros and I am of the Alexandros clan. We are a clan of gypsies who have no set Kekii Genkai or Kekii Tota, for we accept many that we feel have earned the right into our clan. I, along with my husband, are the clan heads and we share the Meshidesu Tetsuka. I have been asked by Apollo to wait for his return before entering the council meeting. It is during this meeting we plan to show our worth. Amira explains. Not seeing anything wrong with that, the Hokage agrees under one condition. Would you mind telling me how many people are in your clan? The Sandaime asks. Currently, we have 8 of the 40 in our clan traveling with us. The remaining 32 are scattered throughout the world, learning as much as they can before rejoining us here. Amira says. Before more can be said, the head of a spawn appears from the center of the office and opens its mouth wide. Out of its mouth, Apollo steps out and bows respectively to the Kage. Greetings Hokage-sama, I am Apollo Grande Alexandros, the head of the Alexandros clan. If you are willing, I seek permission to speak to your council. Apollo says. It is a pleasure to meet you, Apollo. Allow me to be the first to thank you for protecting Naruto. Your lovely wife has explained the situation to me and I will grant you an audience. Naruto *, said child snaps to attention. Since this concerns you, you too will be at this meeting. The council should be gathered by now, let's not keep them waiting. The Sandaime says, getting out of his chair. The four of them leave the office and make their way to the council room where their fates await them. Inside the council chamber sits the three governing bodies of Konohagakure. The chamber is designed where the civilian council are seated on the bottom floor in a round table. The Shinobi Council, consisting of the Hyuga clan head Hyuga Hayashi, Inazuka clan head Tsum Inazuka, Aburame clan head Aburame Shibi, the Akimichi clan head Akimichi Chuza, the Nara clan head Nara Shikaku, and the Yamanaka clan head Yamanaka Inoichi, are seated higher in a spiraling pattern. The final council, the Hokage's council consisting of Mitokado Hamura, Utatane Koharu, and Shimura Danzo are seated the highest in a line formation. The council were gathered to discuss the disturbing news from the villagers of one Uzumaki Naruto's actions against his fellow villagers. The civilian council were the most affected by this, calling for the death of the demon of Konoha. Once the Sandaime arrives, he shuns to his seat and silences the chatter. His guests wait outside the chamber for his word to enter. I am well aware of the situation in which this meeting of the Konoha Council has called for. I, the Sandaime Hokage, will hear your grievances and then discuss not only the best possible solution, but also another matter that has come to my attention, the Sandaime replies. Many of the councillors were curious as to the other matter he spoke of, but decided to wait until after they dealt with the demon. Hokage-sama, the demon the Sandaime unleashes ki at the civilian. The boy has gone too far. Not only did he attack civilians, but he single-handedly slaughtered 4 Chunin-level shinobi. It's obvious to the members of this council that the boy has been taken over by the Kyuubi and wishes to finish what it started, a civilian councillor declares. His fellow civilian members roar in agreement, believing the more support they had, the better the chances the Sandaime would listen. I disagree with the findings of the civilian council. If anything, the boy's feat shows his potential as a shinobi for the leaf. Danzo replies. His answer comes as a surprise to the civilian council, since he normally sides with them. The Sandaime, however, is not fooled. I also disagree with the civilian council. There is no evidence that Uzumaki used any of the Kyuubi's chakra. Our sensors would have sensed such actions. Not only that, but no civilian was killed during the incident. Hyuga Hayashi replies. The Sandaime couldn't help but smile. At least the Shinobi Council saw the promise of Naruto. The civilian council aren't ready to give up this matter. It has also come to my attention that civilians provoked young Naruto. He was sent to the hospital in the worst condition yet, and I highly doubt he did that to himself. Even if Naruto was responsible for the incident, he was well within his right to defend himself, the Sandaime states. But Hokage-sama, that boy shouldn't even be alive. He is the Kyuubi incarnate. He has no rights, he should either die or be used as the weapon he is, one Haruno Viora screeches. Before she can rally support, the room is filled with intense ki that sends chills even down the Shinobi Council's spine. I have heard enough. Your blatant disrespect for the Yondaime will not be tolerated anymore. To say that the Kyuubi has, somehow, broken free from seal the Yondaime applied at the cost of his life and possessed Naruto shows how little the civilians know of sealing. The Yondaime was a master at Fuinjutsu and I have complete faith in his abilities. Not only that, but I know who was responsible for the incident. The Sandaime replies calmly, which served to unnerve the civilian council even more. May we ask who was responsible and why they felt the need to kill our shinobi Hokage-sama? Shibi asks. Why don't you ask him yourself? You may enter, the Sandaime replies as Apollo, Amira and Naruto walk into the chamber. Upon seeing Naruto, the civilian council send glares of hate his way, but they were shocked when ki even greater than the Sandaime's is sent their way. The ki is so intense it literally chokes the civilians, but the glare Apollo and Amira sends their way is even more frightening. Naruto couldn't help but smile. No one, besides the Sandaime, had ever defended him before. It is my humble pleasure to introduce to the Konoha Council, Apollo Grande Alexandros and his lovely wife, Amira Alexandros. These two are members of a wandering clan that came here to discuss being instated as an official clan of Konoha, the Sandaime explains. This statement shocks everyone in the chamber as Apollo makes his way to the center of the chamber. Greetings, noble council, as you have heard, I am Apollo Grande Alexandros, clan head of the wandering Alexandros clan. Since the formation of our clan, we have traveled from country to country. We are not affiliated with any major shinobi village, choosing to keep our clan art secret from the shinobi world. We have been considered gypsies due to our constant traveling. Apollo replies in a gentleman manner. Many of the female counselors couldn't help the blushes on their face, that is until Amira unleashes Ki so strong her hair lights ablaze. Danzo couldn't deny the benefit of having a mysterious clan join their ranks, but there was one thing that troubled him. This is indeed both surprising and welcome. Still, I have never heard of your clan, Apollo-san. Danzo replies, not hiding his suspension. Apollo could only smirk at the old war hawk. We wouldn't be a secret clan if people knew about us. Our clan follows a different path than the shinobi of today. We hold secrecy above all else in order to ensure our survival. Apollo replies. Sounds more like your clan are a bunch of cowards that hide in the darkness. Some says. Her insult does nothing to Apollo. Last I checked, a coward is someone who fights someone they know is weaker than them. It is for this very reason that I killed your shinobi. They attacked a defenseless child and paid the price for it. In fact, we only came here to get supplies so we could be on our way. Of all the so-called hidden villages, Konoha disgusts me the most. Apollo declares with steel resolve. This comment gains him the ire of the council, but he's unaffected by their Ki. Then why do you wish to live here? Hayashi asks with a cold glare. Because of Naruto. Amira answers, grabbing Naruto and wrapping him in a warm hug. We have decided to adopt Naruto into our clan, and since just taking him with us would be an act of war, we have no choice but to become a Konoha clan. Apollo adds. The Sandaime looks over the meeting with great interest. He honestly didn't find Apollo's words offensive, even he was disgusted by his village's actions against Naruto. The entire council was once again shocked by the mysterious duo. You would adopt that thing? You have no idea what he is. Viora screams, the civilian council chants their agreement. Apollo gives Amira a glance as she nods her head and leaves the chamber with Naruto in tow. Where are we going, Amira-ne-chan? Naruto asks. I doubt you want to hear what he has to say, Naru-chan. Amira says seriously. Naruto just complies and lets his possible adoptive mother to take him away. You mean how he is the Jinchuriki of the Kyubi no Yoki? Apollo says more than asks. Even the Sandaime is shocked at Apollo's confession. Apollo could only laugh heartedly at their expressions. Oh, don't look so shocked. Everyone knows the Kyubi attacked your village 8 years ago. You add that to how everyone treats the kid and how you all openly call him demon. I'd have to be retarded not to put the pieces together. Apollo replies. You know what he is and yet you still wish to adopt him? A civilian counselor asks in a stupor. Of course, unlike you, my clan has quite a few master-level Fuinjutsu users and we have experience with Jinchuriki. Not only that, but we can see the potential Naruto has and wish to nurture that potential. Apollo says. I'm sorry, but we cannot allow the adoption of Uzumaki Naruto. Hamura says. And why can't they? The Sandaime asks, sending a glare at his old friend. We cannot allow any clan to obtain the power of the Kyubi. It would create an uneven balance of power among the clans, and the last thing we need is another Uchiha incident. Hamura replies. The Hokage could only sigh at his friend's point. Allowing Naruto to be adopted into an unknown clan could spell disaster for Konoha. Not only that, but Naruto is a civilian and thus he falls under our jurisdiction. Viora says with a smirk, but Apollo has an ace up his sleeve. Rin, Kyo, Toe. Apollo chants mental as an aura of yellow, white and green dances all around him. Before the shinobi can act on what they assume is a threat, Apollo slams his hand on the ground as a dimensional rift opens up and a spawn roars from the rift. The spawn soars around the room before Apollo raises his arm and the spawn coils around it. Even though my clan is filled with people of different Kekii Genkais and Kekii Todas, my Meshidesu Tetsuka allows me to create summoning contracts based on a person's spirit animal. This is my spawn, a manifest ion of my spirit animal, the dragon. This spawn is one of the spawn I use to completely annihilate your Chunin and is only a larva. If I am not allowed to adopt Naruto, I will leave this village and never return. Amira. Apollo calls. Amira returns in Hokage Shunshin with Naruto in her arms. Please show the council your Meshidesu Tetsuka. Apollo says. Amira releases Naruto and mentally chants the same kanji as Apollo, but she raises her hands to the ceiling. From the palm of her hands, two small birds of fire cry and soar around the startled counselors. My spirit animal is that of the phoenix. It grants me an everlasting source of fire and can even be used to heal my allies. Amira states. Naruto watched the display in awe. These were the people who wanted to adopt him? Will you please give us time to discuss your offer, the Sandame asks, even though his answer was already decided. You have 5 minutes before we take your silence as a negative and leave. Apollo says, leaving the chamber with Amira and Naruto. Either way, Naruto will come with us. Amira thinks to herself. While the council discussed the proposal, Naruto couldn't hold back his questions. Why are you guys doing all this for me? Naruto asks with a sad expression. No one ever cared about him. Even those he thought cared only pretended to care in order to lead him to an ambush or to trick him. Amira was saddened by Naruto's question, didn't anyone show him love? Because everyone deserves love, Naruto, especially children like you. Amira replies with a warm smile. Naruto tries in vain to hold his tears back. His only wish was that the council would have a heart and allow them to adopt him. He would finally have a family, finally have someone notice him, finally feel the love he saw other kids had. Apollo ruffles Naruto's hair affectionately, don't worry Naruto-kun. No matter what those fools say, you are an honorary member of the Alexandros clan and we will not abandon you. Apollo reassures. Before more can be said, they received the signal to return to the chamber. The council is in agreement with allowing the Alexandros clan into Konoha and the adoption of Uzumaki Naruto. Danzo says. Even though the civilians all voted no to the proposal, the Elder and Shinobi Council were in agreement. Adding the Alexandros clan to Konoha's roster would only help them. Naruto couldn't contain his excitement as he jumps for joy and hugs his new Ka-san. However, there are conditions to the agreement. Currently, we do not have the space to hold a clan, so you will have to find your own lodging until further notice. Also, you must bestow a shinobi of our choosing with a summoning contract. Danzo replies, having the perfect candidate for the ritual. Apollo saw something like this coming, too bad for them things wouldn't play out how they wanted. My clan is currently camped a few miles outside the village, so housing isn't a problem, but I am afraid I cannot bestow just anyone with a summoning contract. The Meshidesu Tetsuka doesn't allow me to give a contract to just anyone. For you see, both the receiver and I must sign a soul contract, binding us by the soul in order for me to craft a summon contract based on their spirit animal. As it stands, only Amira and I can use the Meshidesu Tetsuka. However, I have a solution to this problem. I wish to enroll the children of our clan into your Shinobi Academy, including Naruto. Not only that, but as a sign of goodwill I will bestow a contract to Naruto. Apollo declares. That is not a part of our deal. Viora screams outraged that Apollo would even dream of giving the demon even more power. Either way it goes, I'm going to give Naruto his own summoning contract. Since he will be my son, I feel it is only natural that he be given our power. Also, since Naruto will eventually become a shinobi of Konoha, it's a win-win for everyone involved. Not to mention, the Meshidesu Tetsuka can be passed down through genetics. Apollo explains. I see no problem with your proposal, Apollo-san. May I ask that the ritual be performed before the council? The Sandaime asks. Apollo shrugs his shoulder and walks over to Naruto. No one has asked you how you feel about all this, Naruto. I won't do anything against your will, so I ask you this. Do you want to become a member of the Alexandros clan? Apollo asks. Naruto doesn't even hesitate. All I've ever wanted was a family to love me like everyone else. To have people to pay attention to me and not ignore me like I'm not there. I would love nothing more than to become a member of your clan and call you my Ota-san and Kaa-san. Naruto declares wholeheartedly. Apollo smiles and nods to Amira, who walks over to them. Focusing chakra into her index finger, Amira points at the ground around Naruto and draws a circle around him. Once the circle is done, Apollo repeats the process, but draws elegant fuins around the circle. Naruto, we need you to remove your shirt. Amira asks as Naruto complies. Amira and Apollo cut their fingers, but instead of blood, a red aura seeps from the wound. They begin to draw fuin all over Naruto's torso. Even the Sandaime doesn't recognize any of the fuin being etched onto Naruto. Once they're done, Apollo and Amira begin to make hand signs that none of the members present recognize. Rin, Kyo, To, Sha, hands are clasped like in prayer, Kai, the fingertips point down and are interlaced. Then the palms are folded down over the fingers by lowering the elbows and crossing the thumbs, Kyo, Rin, Sha, To, they chant in sync before slamming their palms on the circle. Sections of Naruto's body begin to glow all the colors of the rainbow as his body floats in the air. Red light begins to glow from between Naruto's anus and genitals. Orange light glows from below his navel where the Shiki fuin is. Yellow light glows from just above his navel, green light glows from the center of his chest. Sky blue light glows from his throat, indigo light glows from the center of his forehead, and his once sun-kissed hair glows a deep violet light. Is this going to hurt? Naruto asks fearfully. Of course not. Amira reassures. Once his body is coated in the rainbow light show, Amira places her hand on the green light and focuses her chakra into it within Naruto's mindscape. The great Kyuubi no Yoki was in deep slumber trying to regain the strength it lost after its battle with the Yondaime. Suddenly, its huge eyes shoot open as pain like it's never felt rocks its body to the core. The great Bijou roars in agony as it slams and flails its body against its prison in a futile attempt to escape whatever is causing it pain. Before it knows what's happening, one of its tails is ripped from its body and soars out of the seal. With its agony over, the great beast falls to the ground in a loud thud and returns to its slumber. Back in reality, a tower of demonic chakra pools from the Shiki fuin as Apollo reverses the chakra in his hands to act like a vacuum that draws the demonic chakra into his hands. His mind is filled with the visualization of a fox as Apollo masterfully constructs the chakra into a small one-tailed fox and then seals the fox into a scroll. Naruto's body floats gently back to the ground. How did it feel? Amira asks. Naruto smiles wearily, finding the entire process surprisingly exhausting. It felt exhilarating, Naruto replies before losing consciousness. The council were left speechless by what they just saw. Never before had they seen such a ritual, and the way Apollo skillfully summoned and manipulated the Kyuubi's chakra was completely unbelievable. Having seen more than enough, the Sandaime rose from his seat and shunshined back to ground level. This meeting is over, you are all dismissed. Apollo-san, if you and your wife would follow me, I can see to it the adoption goes without fail. Also, after investigating Naruto's previous lodgings, it's come to my attention that Naruto is entitled to a settlement that should help in building a clan compound, the Sandaime replies, leading the new parents to his office just as Apollo reaches the gates of Konoha. With a sleeping Naruto and Amira in tow, he senses a dark presence coming from the Uchiha district. You can sense it too, can't you? Amira asks. Apollo nods in the positive. Yeah, to think the balance has already become so unbalanced. We don't have much time. If we don't get Naruto to the appropriate level of skill, then the scale will lean too far for our side and the darkness will only grow stronger. Apollo states. Even though he traded his grace, his soul was still considered that of the light. All things, even higher beings, have a balance, a yang to the yin. A push to the pull, a light to the dark. Uchiha district. After a grueling day of training, Uchiha Sasuke walks back to his home, the Uchiha district. Even after 3 years since the massacre, Sasuke can still see the bodies, still smell the sickening stench of blood splashed on the walls and streets. The thought sends shivers down his spine as Sasuke clutches his fists to stop his shaking body. Sasuke would defeat his brother he had to in order to avenge his fallen clan. Once Sasuke walks into his home, he sees a scroll with a note attached. To Sasuke, the Avenger, the note said. Sasuke opens the scroll to find that it's a summoning scroll for something called a Bazan. With instructions on what to do, Sasuke bites his thumb, writes his name in one of the empty slots and performs the necessary hand signs. Kuchios no Jutsu. Sasuke proclaims as web of fuins from before a large poof of smoke erupts. When the smoke clears, a dog-sized fowl stands before a stunned Sasuke. A chicken. This is what someone calls a gift. I am an Uchiha and I deserve something more powerful than a chicken. Sasuke says, outraged. The Bazan glares at Sasuke before opening its beak. Katan, Enden, the Bazan says, emitting a jet of fire at Sasuke. The entire village can hear Sasuke scream in agony just before they see a dog-sized chicken race to the hospital with a severely burned Sasuke on its back, but not before passing Apollo and Amira. Was that a Bazan? Amira asks, trying to make sure what she saw was real and not a genjutsu. She even flexed her chakra to release any genjutsu that might have been placed on her, but no such jutsu was found. A better question is, was that the last Uchiha riding said Bazan? Apollo asks before the two burst into a fit of side-splitting laughter. Apollo couldn't believe it. The great Uchiha Sasuke, the one the darkness chose, had the spirit of a overgrown chicken? Looks like he had more time than he originally thought. After recovering, the trio leave the village in a dimensional rift Apollo opened up. The spot they once were was immediately swarmed by root operatives. The root try in vain to track their targets as all traces of them seemingly vanished along with them. What are we to do, Mew? One root op asks. The one called Mew kneels down and tries to see if they disturbed the ground, only to see the grass bloom more where they disappeared. Report back to Danzo-sama. The targets have eluded us with what appears to be a Jikuken ninjutsu. Mew states as the root ops shunshin back to base. Mew stays a bit longer and makes his way outside the village. He had a mission to complete. Undisclosed location, Alexandros campsite. A dimensional rift opens just outside a large campsite as Apollo, Amira, and a now awake Naruto step out of it. The campsite is simple with various tents pitched up. The campsite is cleared with tree stumps signaling that they were cut recently. It's not much, but you'll soon learn that you don't need much when you have love and family. Amira says with a smile. From out of the surrounding forests, two figures rush towards one another as they meet in a clash of throwing knife and brass knuckles. One figure is a vanilla-skinned girl around Naruto's age with shoulder-length blonde hair and burning emerald eyes. She was dressed in a black overjacket, black sash, black coveralls, with blousing ties at the wrists, elbows, knees, and ankles with black tabi, and stands at about 3 feet 10 inches. The other figure is a caramel boy around his age with dark brown wavy hair and piercing blue eyes. He was wearing the same attire as the girl and stands at about 4 feet 5 inches. Before they can separate, the boy focuses red chakra throughout his body. Bakutun, Shinsei, the boy chants mentally, his chakra is thrust outwardly in a bubble explosion. Jin-tun, Hypa-shuppen, the girl chants mentally, unleashing a flare of yellow chakra and seemingly disappears before the explosion hits her. She reappears next to Naruto and signals to her partner the spar is over. Looking Naruto up and down, the girl smiles brightly. So this is Uzumaki Naruto Apollo-kun, the girl asks, never taking her eyes off of Naruto. Naruto, with the density of a crystal, smiles back at the girl. That's right. I'm Uzumaki Naruto and I'm going to be the best shinobi there ever was. Naruto declares with valor. The boy laughs at Naruto. Hey. You the best? You're gonna have to beat me, Dantes Alexandros first. Dantes says. Naruto glares at Dantes and steps to his face. I bet I can beat you blindfolded with both arms tied. Naruto states. Dantes looks at Naruto for a second before bursting into laughter. He pats Naruto on the back hard enough to knock him on the ground face first. You'll fit right in with us, kid. Dantes says before he goes to one of the tents. You'll have to excuse Dantes, his personality matches. The Bakutun Kekkei Toda his side of the clan holds. My name is Angel Alexandros. Angel introduces with a warm smile. He's a cutie, I wonder if it would be frowned upon to date within the clan. It's not like we're blood related anyway. Angel thinks with a blush and smile that threatened to tear her face apart. It's cool. Say, what were those jutsus you guys were using? They were awesome. Naruto states with valor. Angel can only giggle at his excitement. Well, as a rule, the Alexandros clan never say our jutsu out loud. We learned at an early age that if an opponent doesn't know what jutsu you use, the harder it'll be for them to counter it. Not only that, but information can be a shinobi's blessing or his curse. Try to remember that, Naru-kun. Angel says. Naruto nods, finding a lot of truth in her words. Even at his age, he never understood why shinobi yell the names of their jutsu. Maybe it was to be cool or something. Since you are an Alexandros now, I guess I can tell you. My side of the clan can use Jinton to move at ultra-fast speeds. We also have another ability, but if I told you I'd have to send you to the sun. Angel says with a smile. Naruto decides not to tempt her. Hell, for all he knew she really could do just that. From the other tents 5 other people, 3 adults and 1 child steps out and makes their way towards Naruto. Will you look at the boy's clothes? What kind of monsters lets a child dress in such filth? I am Evangela Alexandros and Angel is my baby girl. Evangela introduces herself. Evangela has peachy skin with an elegantly curvy frame and stands at about 5 feet 6 inches. Her eyes match Naruto's and her dark brown hair reaches her mid-back. She is dressed in a red version of Angel's attire. Expect she has shin and elbow guards. I am Isaac Alexandros and you even think of touching my Angel, they'll never find your body. Isaac threatens. Isaac has light skin with a mesomorph build and stands at about 6 feet 8 inches. Isaac is dressed in a gray lab coat with the same attire as everyone else. Naruto swallows a lump in his throat as he nods his head. Angel just sighs. It was like that for every guy she met. The name's Roland Alexandros and if you haven't noticed, I'm Dantes' younger twin brother. Roland says, and to his word, he looks exactly like Dantes. The only difference is that he's dressed in a dark blue version of Dantes' attire. I'm Dante Alexandros. Dante roars, patting Naruto on the back so hard, he leaves a crater upon impact. Dante has dark chocolate skin with a bulky build and stands at 7 feet 12 inches. Dante is dressed in the same attire as everyone else except he opts wearing a shirt. Naruto is starting to see a trend in attire. Dante, what have I told you about doing that? Not everyone has the endurance you and Dantes have. Sorry about that, I am Rose Alexandros and this behemoth is my husband and Dantes and Roland are my kids. Rose says. She walks over and heals Naruto. With everyone introduced, Naruto can't wait to ask everyone questions about themselves, but before he can, everyone, excluding Naruto, senses a disturbance in their territory. Angel, Dantes, Roland the intruder is of Jounin level. Although I'm sure you all can handle him, I want Naruto to get his first kill out of the way. Therefore I need you to lead Naruto to the intruder and leave him. Your mother will be in range to take out the enemy. Apollo orders via mental link. The kids nod in agreement. Hey, why don't you kids go out and play for a bit? Starting tomorrow I want you three to train Naruto for the academy, which begins in 6 weeks. That gives each of you 2 weeks to bring Naruto to Rookie of the Year level, am I understood? Apollo declares. The kids give him a salute before Angel grabs Naruto and uses a Jintan jutsu to travel deep within the forest. Alright boys, it's time we played hide and seek. Hide and seek is a great game for shinobi in training, it teaches stealth and fleeing. So Naruto is it? Angel says before giving Naruto a throwing knife and Jintan shunshining away. Dantes and Roland shunshin away too, leaving Naruto alone. He has no tracking skills and probably couldn't catch them if his life depended on it. Before Naruto can start searching, Miu comes from behind a tree. WW, what do you want? Naruto asks fearfully. He could easily recognize the mask from the times he was abused by the villagers, and they would either watch or assist the villagers. I have a mission to kill you and take one of the Alexandros children back to Konoha. Miu says monotonously as he pulls out a tipless tanto. Naruto's body begins to shake violently. Was this it? After finally finding happiness, finally finding a family, was it going to be taken away just like that? No and no. Naruto refused to let that damn village take away his happiness, his family. It wasn't enough they wanted to kill him, that he was used to. The fact they wanted to take away his family and do who knows what was too far. With his throwing knife in hand, Naruto closed his eyes and rushed Miu with a battle cry. Unknown to Miu or Naruto, Evangela is up in a tree nearby, sniper rifle aimed and ready. After making sure all the conditions are set, Evangela loads the chamber with red chakra and fires a concentrated chakra bullet. It soars through the air silently and strikes Miu in his chest. The chakra seeps into his skin and paralyzes him, allowing Naruto to stab him right in the gut as blood pours from the wound. Miu's body falls to the ground in a thud as he lays in a growing puddle of his blood. Before anything can register to Naruto, the entire clan is by his side. Amira wraps Naruto in a loving hug as Naruto cries in her arms. He did it, he killed him in order to protect himself and his family. That was the right thing to do, and yet he felt horrible. He couldn't see the man's face, but he will never forget the warm feeling of blood slowly cool on his hands. Seeing where his thoughts were, Amira decides to nip it in the bud. You are not a cold-hearted killer, Naru-chan. You did what you had to do to defend not only yourself, but your family as well. That man would have killed you and then taken one of your clansmen to forcibly breed our Kekkei Todas. That is the kind of village Konogakure is, and that is not the kind of people you should wish to gain acknowledgement from. You should only seek acknowledgement from those that want to give it to you. You should seek love from those that give it to you freely, not because of what clan you're from or how much money you have. Those are the kind of people you pity, and if they threaten your happiness, the kind of people who will fall to you. It gets easier, I promise. Amira explains, letting Naruto release his anguish. 6 weeks later, the once brilliant blue eyes of Naruto had lost some of its light over the last 6 weeks. Then again, learning the truth behind the shinobi world will do that to you. Though he grew well beyond Rookie of the Year, hell, even Genin, he lost the once innocent and pure mindset he once had. Evangela made sure Naruto was dressed in proper shinobi uniform, essentially the same thing everyone else wore except the Uzumaki swirl was stitched on the back of his black overjacket. The first week, Angel taught him the silent way, and boy did he learn that fast. Failure to stay concealed resulted in him being tied down and pummeled by Angel's Jintan, Yukai Kabushi. It took 6 days for Naruto to learn the silent way, and Angel couldn't be more proud. After he learned the silent way, Angel began teaching him the basics of Fuinjutsu. Naruto had trouble when it came to penmanship, but could make the Fuins for explosive tags. Then she had him work on accuracy with throwing knives, which Angel made herself. Angel would send him on pseudo-infiltration missions into Konoha where he would sneak into important buildings and either sabotage or collect information on them. Getting caught was not an option. He had to admit, it felt good getting back at those who wronged him. For an entire week any shopping building that kicked him out or overpriced him had parts of their buildings destroyed, their stock mysteriously disappeared, or vermin were found nesting in their stores. No one once saw the one responsible and no one had seen Naruto since he left with the new clan. Many were convinced he was responsible, but the Sandaime made it clear that without evidence he could do nothing to charge Naruto. Not even the Sandaime could see Naruto using his crystal spying orb. Over the 2 weeks of Angel's training, the two grew closer. Naruto found out that Angel likes blondes, he still can't look at her without blushing. Her favorite color was purple. Her dream was to become a legend like her mother, who was known throughout 3 of the great Shinobi nations as Bullseye Evie, and her pet peeve was chauvinistic men. Naruto told her what little he knew about himself and she giggled at hearing his addiction to ramen and asked if she could join him for a bowl. He never did take her up on the offer, seeing as he hadn't been to the village except to infiltrate it. The next 2 weeks Naruto trained with Dante's train was a weak word to describe what he experienced. Living hell was a better phrase, as Dantes sought to increase every physical aspect of Naruto. Strength training included doing sit-ups while tied upside down to a tree until his muscles ripped. Thank Kami everyone was efficient at medical jutsus. Push-ups with a boulder twice his size on his back and more boulders would be added once he got used to the weight. Gravity training using a huge gravity fuin placed on the ground he walked on. His bones would break and then be repaired mysteriously quick. Speed training consisted of having a parachute on while running through one of Roland's futon jutsus. Endurance training no more like a beatdown every day before bed. Naruto never thought he'd be glad the villagers beat him whenever they could, it gave him tough skin. The final week was spent teaching Naruto the 9 levels of power, and even though he was nowhere near mastering it, his progress was impressive for a rookie. Naruto memorized all the levels and could use 3 of the hand signs physically and just 1 mentally. Once Naruto's training was complete, Dantes taught him all about information gathering and even showed him the henge no jutsu so they could go to brothels. Naruto was surprised at the fountain of information you could get there. Of course he never took any of the ladies up on their offer. It was at the brothels that Naruto's innocence was greatly wounded. He learned of all the darkness in the shinobi world, how men were forced to kill for profit. How women were used for their bodies for the sake of the mission. He tried to delude himself into thinking the old man would never send people out on such missions, but the stories he heard destroyed that. Dantes figured the sooner he learned, the better off he'd be. Naruto learned quite a bit about Dantes, how he loved to use taijutsu and nintaijutsu. How he was 9 years old, how he loved chocolate and once maimed a guy for taking one of his bars. Naruto made a mental note never to do that. Dantes was a bit of a pervert, but not overly so, and his only fears in life were his parents. The final 2 weeks, Naruto trained with Roland and for once there was no pain involved. Roland's training consisted of chakra theory, manipulation, finding his nature manipulation and researching poisons, medicines, psychology, history and Kage Bunshin. Naruto discovered he was a wind manipulator, but before he could learn any futon jutsu, Roland made it clear he needed better chakra control. The Alexandros clan had a different idea on chakra than the shinobi nations. According to Roland, there were 7 man chakras: root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, brow and crown. Each chakra had a corresponding organ and a color: red, orange, yellow, green, sky blue, indigo and violet. Roland found it both annoying and infuriating he had to teach Naruto to read for 2 weeks, but once he learned Naruto used Kage Bunshin to read various books at once. Roland also taught Naruto meditation, which bored Naruto for the first few days, but after a while Naruto really enjoyed it. He could escape to what was called the peace of his mind and unknowingly worked on his chakra control. His chakra would dance around him in waves and Roland would compliment him on it. Through meditation, Naruto could use only the root chakra, unknown to him. the Kyuubi made it difficult for him to use the lower, root, sacral and solar plexus, chakras. After meditation, Roland would have Naruto work on shaping his chakra. When Naruto said it was impossible, Roland made drills, knives, spheres, and even monarchs out of chakra. Naruto could only make squares, triangles and circles out of his chakra, but considering the deadline they had, it was great progress. Apollo was pleased with Naruto, he was more than ready. Roland was the calmer version of his brother. He preferred meditating and walks in nature as opposed to fighting, though he was no slouch in a fight. Roland loved scents and animals also seemed to flock to him, which he enjoyed. Naruto was at peace whenever he was near Roland, which made the two great friends. "Alright guys," Angel glares at him and girl, "today is the day you enter the academy. Now I don't need to tell you not to show off your skills. You are to be invisible, if you can get people to underestimate you that's even better. Since I'm sure you'll know everything the academy has to offer, you are allowed to sleep in class, but I believe using your time more wisely would be more beneficial. You can take scrolls with you. I recommend Ninja Secrets and Ninja Mind Control for reading. After the academy, you will continue your training under your parents, Naruto. That means starting today Amira and I will be training you in our Kekkai Genkai." Apollo says all four kids salute their leader and make their way away from the campsite. Once they were a mile away in the opposite direction of the camp, Angel had everyone hold hands as she Jin-tun, Shunshin the group in an alley not too far from the academy. The group of four walked to the academy as slowly as possible. "Can you believe this shit?" Dantes asks infuriated. "To think they had to subject themselves to this bull." "Relax Dantes, it's only for 4 years." "Oh Kami, it's for 4 years, Roland says, realizing just how long it would take to graduate. "Please, once they see what we can do, we'll be out of there in a week tops," Naruto says with valor. Though he was forced to mature quickly, Naruto kept his personality intact, something Angel was happy about. "You remember what Apollo-kun said? Showing our skills would draw even more than attention to us. I mean, we already have both Root and Umbu tailing us," Angel says, whispering the last part so only her group could hear. Naruto had to scoff at the supposed Umbu-level shinobi. Their concealing was so poor compared to the Silent Way. He doubted the technique they used was anything more than suppressing their chakras and using a ninja cloak to disguise themselves. It amazed Naruto how much he learned from his clan in just 6 weeks. Once the academy was in sight, the group could see all the children with their parents excited to be there. All excitement drained from the parents as the infamous Alexandros clan walks past them. They sent glares at the Demon Lover clan as the group sent Ki back at them that made the parents flinch. Once the group was out of hearing range, the parents made sure to tell their children to stay away from the group. The group looked at the rosters and were glad that they were put in the same class, something the Sanday must have had a hard time arranging. "I'm going to have to thank Gigi after school," Naruto thinks to himself. Once they're in class, they sit in the back as to not draw attention to themselves as more children fill into the class. Naruto recognizes quite a few of them from his infiltration of their clans. Yamanaka Ino, age 8, member of the Yamanaka clan that specializes in infiltration and information gathering. They also led the village in psychological warfare, though Ino spends most of her time on fashion and trying to impress the Uchiha. Shinobi skills are non-existent, though she has great knowledge on poisonous flowers. Naruto thinks to himself as he observes Ino argue with a girl with pink hair. Their screaming is rather loud and obnoxious, but Naruto is able to channel them out. Haruno Sakura, age 8, comes from a civilian family. Her mother is a member of the civilian council. Her shinobi skills are at civilian level, but has a mind ripe for learning. Unfortunately, she wastes that potential fawning over the Uchiha. It seems everyone female, but one is obsessed with the Uchiha. Naruto evaluates. Gazing around the room, Naruto notices an Inazuka glaring at him. Inazuka Kiba, age 8, member of the Inuzuka clan who specialize in taijutsu alongside their animal familiars. Kiba's animal familiar is named Akamaru, and although the two show great skill, Kiba's pride is unjustly high. Ninjutsu is non-existent and is vulnerable to genjutsu. Naruto evaluates. Naruto suddenly feels something crawling on his arm. Upon further examination, Naruto finds a Kikaichu. Instead of crushing it, Naruto picks it up and sends it back to its host. Aburame Shino, age 8, member of the Aburame clan. Infiltration into the clan home was unsuccessful due to their connection with insects. Skills currently unknown, but has great potential for espionage and infiltration. Naruto evaluates, making sure to keep an eye on the Aburame. Shino looks over at Naruto once his Kikaichu returns and nods to him. Naruto assumes it's his way of saying thanks. Sitting next to Angel is Hyuga Hinata. Before his adoption into the Alexandros clan, Naruto remembers seeing her following him and watching him train. It confused him, until his Kaa-sen told him what it probably meant, and honestly, he thought she was cute. She just needed to gain more confidence in herself, but from what his infiltration of the Hyuga clan district showed him, it wasn't the girl's fault. For a clan that brags about their all-seeing eyes, they were really blind when it came to seeing potential. Infiltrating that clan was the hardest mission Angel ever gave him, but after watching Hinata whenever she was away from the clan, he couldn't help but chuckle when he realized he stalked his stalker. Naruto learned they have a blind spot and utilized said flaw to spy on the clan. Naruto noticed Hinata would steal glances his way before shying away with a blush. Even Angel thought it was adorable as she giggled. Looking around, Naruto notices a boy fast asleep in front of him. Nara Shikamaru, age 8, member of the Nara clan who are master strategists. Has an IQ ranging over 200, but hides it so he doesn't have to work. Naruto evaluates. Next to Shikamaru, eating a bag of chips is Akimichi Chuji. Akimichi Chuji, age 8, member of the Akimichi clan who can enlarge their bodies to giant proportions, making them fierce in taijutsu. Due to the Akimichi using their weight for their jutsu, Chuji is self-conscious about his weight, and calling him fat will result in a highly pissed Akimichi, not a nice thing. Naruto evaluates. The final student, who had the most potential, was Uchiha Sasuke. The boy was brooding as every girl in the class, minus Angel and Hinata, were swooning over the last Uchiha. Uchiha Sasuke, age 8, sole survivor of the Uchiha clan. Has not awakened his Sharingan, but has above-average skills in all areas of shinobi skills. Above-average ninjutsu, average genjutsu, decent taijutsu, and is the first Bazan summoner. Trains intensely, most likely to avenge his clan by killing his older brother Uchiha Itachi. Naruto evaluates. Once he is finished scoping out the potential, he pulls out the Ninja Secrets scroll and begins to read. Angel pulls out a blank scroll and begins to practice a fuinjutsu. Dantes pulls out a comic and reads it, and Roland meditates. Before long, two Chunins walk into the classroom as everyone gives them their attention. Greetings class, I am Yumino Irika and this is my assistant, Mizuki, and we will be your instructors for the next 4 years. By the end of the program, we will select those that show enough skill and promise to become genin, and from there only you can tell. Now let's get started with roll call. Irika says with excitement. Too bad the rest of the class didn't feel so excited. As Irika went through the names of everyone in the class, Naruto read his scroll. There are two kinds of strength, just as there are yin and yang. The outer, physical strength is obvious, fades with age, and is dissipated by excess. The inner strength is by far the more powerful of the two, but it must be developed through constant practice and study. The chakra is the life force of the universe, which flows within and through and around all things. It can be collected, cultivated, and circulated within the body to perform the will. But, not 1 in 10,000 will ever know the true chakra. This, like many transcendental subjects, cannot be adequately described in word or print. But, it can be experienced. The practice is known as Kuji-kiri, the 9 cuts. The key to the mind gate. The purpose of any path of enlightenment is to show the student his true face. If it does not do this, it has failed as a philosophy and is useless. The phrase comes from a tribal legend, when men first contemplated the nature of the universe. Naruto reads just as Iruka calls his name. Alexandros Uzumaki Naruto. Iruka says, everyone looks to the back to see the child their parents told them to stay away from. Naruto is too engrossed in his scroll to notice he's called. Irritated, Iruka calls his name again with a bit of ire in his tone. Again, Naruto is too engrossed as Angel elbows him in the side. Naruto notices everyone is staring at him and becomes annoyed he has been interrupted. Can I help you people? This is a classroom, I'm reading, what more do you want? Naruto asks, going back to reading. A tick mark can be seen on Iruka's forehead as he tries to calm himself. Why don't you tell the class what you're so engrossed in then, Naruto? Iruka asks, hoping to embarrass him. The scroll is titled Ninja Secrets by Ashida Kim. Naruto says simply as he goes back to reading. Some of the students were curious as to where Naruto got the scroll, as they were sure it wasn't a part of the curriculum. I don't think I've ever heard of the author nor his work. Mizuki says. He probably made it up to cover for himself, as if he knows how to read, a student says as the class bursts into laughter. Naruto didn't care what they thought. He's a foreign author and the scroll was given to me by my Ochuo-san, you're more than welcome to have this copy, Iruka-sensei, as I have more copies. Naruto says once the class calms down. Iruka takes Naruto up on his offer and to his surprise, Naruto's words are true. I see you were telling the truth, Naruto. Well, I would appreciate it if you and your clansmen would pay attention in my class and wait until after class to read. Iruka says, finding Naruto reading to be a good sign. Mizuki held back his feelings on the demon, not wanting to break the law concerning him. Naruto, Angel, Dantes and Roland nod in agreement and give him their attention. Satisfied, Iruka continues roll call. Alexandros Angel. Iruka calls as Angel says, here, sweetly. The guys in the class, even Sasuke, take notice to the girl as many of them drool and blush at her. Angel just waves at them sweetly as the guys fall even harder. Sasuke tries to hide the blush on his face, but the girls see it. The jealous fangirls send glares at Angel, who just unleashes enough ki to scare even Mizuki and Iruka as the girls cower. Alexandros Dantes. Iruka calls as Dantes just says, yo. Iruka sighs but continues. And Alexandros Roland. Iruka calls, noticing how the two look identical except for their clothes. Here, Iruka-sensei. Roland says politely. Once roll call is over, Iruka begins to teach the class. Breaking down the curriculum for the 4 years. The 2 years classes would be inside the building as they covered reading, writing, mathematics, science, geography, the shinobi rules of Konoha, the basics of trap setting, handling ninja tools, how to throw and wield said ninja tools and hand signing. The final 2 years would consist of taijutsu, ninjutsu and genjutsu classes with separate classes for the girls concerning kunoichis. Naruto and Dantes shared the same thought as they slammed their heads on the table. The class looked at them like they were crazy. We have to spend 8 hours every day, including weekends, inside a building learning shit we already know? Dantes roars mentally as he slams his head harder. It was going to be a long 4 years, I see. Well, I'm glad to hear you're being taken care of, Naruto-kun, the Sandaime says with a warm smile. It finally seems like Naruto is happy to the old man. It filled his heart with joy that there were people who could see Naruto for what he truly was, a wonderful young man with great potential and the will of fire. I'll say GG. I've learned so much from the clan and they make me feel at home. Evangela Obasan and Angel-chan helped me a ton with throwing weapons. And Ochuo-san and Kaa-san are going to show me how to use the Meshidesu Tetsuka today. I've never been happier than I am with them. Naruto says with a big smile. The Sandaime couldn't help but smile. He made the right choice allowing the Alexandros clan to adopt the boy. Still, he missed having the blonde around, but it was for the best. Naruto told his Gigi as much as he could about what he had been doing with the Alexandros clan, seeing as there were Umbu watching them. The old man had a perverted smile on his face whenever Naruto mentioned Angel, who he seemed to be animated about. He even laughed when Naruto told him about the time he accidentally stumbled on Angel taking a bath in a nearby lake and she didn't stop once she realized he was there. Well Gigi, I have to be going before Angel, Ochuo-san and Ka-san get worried about me. I'll be sure to visit more often. Naruto replied, shunshining out of the office. To say the Umbu were surprised was an understatement. For an 8-year-old to perform a C-rank jutsu hasn't been heard of since Uchiha Itachi. The Sandaime could only smile proudly at his adopted grandson. You're going to go far, my boy, the Sandaime says mentally, taking a drag of his pipe before he glares at the stack of paperwork on his desk. He could swear the stack grew the minute Naruto left. In fact, he was sure a lot of the paper concerned Naruto and his new clansmen. With a sigh, the Sandaime picks up a slip of paperwork and begins his most hated task. Here's a bill denying Naruto and all associated with him access to the shopping district. Denied, the Sandaime says to himself, stamping rejected on the paper and placing it in the out pile. Here's a bill denying Naruto and all associated with him from all restaurants. Denied, though I'm sure they won't let him in anyway, the Sandaime sighs, stamping rejected on the bill. The job of Hokage can be stressful at times. Alexandros campsite. Once Naruto made it to the clan campsite, he finds another root operative bound with Apollo standing over him. That Danzo Baka just won't learn, will he? How many of his root have we killed so far, Amira-chan? Apollo asks, preparing to gather any information he could from the man. I'd say 36, the guy has to be running out by now. I removed the tongues of all the other root ops for analyze and I've determined the seal makes it so they can't mention anything concerning Danzo or root. The seal affects their ability to speak and connects to their minds. I suppose he had the Yamanaka in mind when making the seal. Amira states. That complicates things. I know for a fact the root are not under the Hokage's orders, which means Danzo has something planned. You don't have your own personal army just for show. No matter, I have just the trick for this. Kyo. Apollo chants as root chakra pours from his body in a flare of red. Seishin Hokusha, Apollo chants mentally. Miniature spawn creep from Apollo's fingers as Apollo grabs the root op's face. The spawn burrow into the root's head, leaving their tails outside as they wiggle. The root op's body begins to convulse violently as he tries to scream, but a spawn tail erupts from his mouth, silencing him. Oh, hello Naru-chan. Your father is busy, but follow me and we can start your Meshidesu Tetsuka training. Amira says, leading Naruto away from Apollo and the poor root op. Strangely, Naruto wasn't horrified by what he saw. He's seen his Ochuo-san do far worse to those foolish enough to enter their territory without permission. Like the time Apollo burned a group of root ops with white fire, burning them layer by layer slowly until not even ashes remained. Amira takes Naruto deep in the forest before coming to a stop. Alright Naru-chan, before we begin there's something I must tell you. What I'm about to reveal is concerned AS rank secret in Konoha, but I feel you're ready. Amira says with a serious tone. Naruto gulps and gives his Ka-san his full attention. Naruto, when is your birthday? Amira asks, figuring having him figure it out is the best way to handle the situation. October 10th, Naruto answers, not sure what that has to do with anything. When did the Kyuubi attack Konohagakure? Amira asks. October 10th, Naruto answers, still not putting it together. From your studies of the Bijou, has there ever been a case where they were slain? Amira asks, hoping the boy would figure it out. No, according to the scrolls, Bijou are masses of chakra and even if you defeat it, it will just respawn, Naruto replies, finding it odd that the history scrolls never say what happened to the Kyuubi, only that the Yondaime killed it, but if they can't die then why hadn't the Kyuubi returned? Unless Naruto's eyes widened with realization. His birthday was the same day of the Kyuubi's defeat. The way the villagers treated and hated him, it could only point to one thing. It's sealed within me. I'm the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoko, Naruto says. His expression is blank. He doesn't know what to do, what to believe. Was he the Kyuubi? Was he a demon like everyone said? Seeing where his train of thoughts were headed, Amira sighs and slaps Naruto upside his head, her way of telling him he's being a baka. Amira takes out a scroll and a kunai and then seals the kunai in the scroll. Tell me, Naruto, is this a kunai? Amira asks, showing him the scroll. No, it's a scroll, it's a scroll. Naruto says, his entire demeanor shifts. Just because he hosted the Kyuubi didn't make him the Kyuubi. Just like the scroll wasn't a kunai just because it held the kunai in it, or an aburame isn't an insect just because they host them. Amira smiles at her Masuko. I'm glad you can tell the difference. Don't let those fools from the village get to you. They simply wish to take their grief out on something. They were too weak to save their loved ones and need to regain the strength they feel they lost by taking it out on you. In their warped minds, any pain they inflict on you is pain against the Kyuubi, and that is why they fear you. They realize that the older you get, the stronger you become. True, they wish for your death, but at the same time they want you around to serve as their scapegoat and weapon. Amira explains. Naruto can't help the fury he feels building within him. He is just a child. He didn't ask for any of this, and yet the villagers blamed him for what the Kyuubi did. How could they? How could his fellow villagers be so foolish, so cold to a child? Well, enough of that, it's time to begin our training. The reason why I told you about the Kyuubi is because, like it or not, you two are connected. If you die, so does the Kyuubi, and vice versa. Unlike normal, where it would respawn, due to the Shiki Fuin and your Ochuo-san's binding contract, you two are connected. In fact, your spirit animal is the Kyuubi reincarnate, though much weaker. Amira explains. Upon hearing this, Naruto subconsciously rubs the Fuin on his navel. To explain what happened during the Meshidesu Tetsuka ritual, your Ochuo-san separated the Kyuubi's will from his chakra by removing the Kyuubi's source of power, its main tail. While the other 8 tails are still within you, the Kyuubi has access to one of its tails, and the only way for it to gain back its tails is by making you stronger. Amira explains. But Kaa-san, why would the Kyuubi work with me? Once I summon it, what's stopping it from going on another rampage or just up and running away? Naruto asks, finding the thought of being linked to the Kyuubi a bit frightening. Great question, Naru-chan. To answer it, the Kyuubi is a member of the great Kitsune clan. A proud clan that are master tricksters and hold freedom above all else. I highly expect the Kyuubi to try to run actually, since they hate being caged. Still, there is a way to keep it obedient to you, and that is with the Kitsune Ball. Amira answers. Kitsune Ball? Naruto asks, confused. Yep, a Kitsune Ball is essentially a Kitsune's life force, and since you two are connected, I believe you are the Kyuubi's Kitsune Ball. Amira explains. Naruto lets out a sigh of relief as he awaits instruction. Alright. Using the Meshidesu Tetsuka is just like a normal Kuchiose, except you have to use the 9 levels of power and all the chakras related to your familiar. In your case, you need to use the Rin level of power as well as root chakra. Since the Kyuubi only has 1 tail, you only need 1 of each, but the more tails he gains, the more levels of power and chakra you need. Amira explains. Wouldn't it gaining tails be a bad thing? Naruto asks. Normally yes, but since it's connected to you, the stronger it gets, the stronger you get. Amira explains. Naruto couldn't believe how cool the Meshidesu Tetsuka was and couldn't wait to use it. Getting the signal to begin, Naruto assumes the full lotus meditation position and begins to do breathing exercises. Naruto searches his mind for the peace within. Inside Naruto's mindscape, Naruto found himself swimming in the calm darkness of his mind. Where one would normally find the void frightening, Naruto found it soothing. In the void, nothing mattered. There were no problems, no sense of time, nothing but peace. Instead the void, Naruto saw a flash of red light as he swam, or floated or whatever. He moved closer to the red light, recognizing it as his root chakra. The closer Naruto got to the light, the more secure and instinctual he became. He remembers that the root chakra represents survival and secures a person to the earth as he basks in the warmth of the red chakra. When he finally reaches the root chakra, Naruto finds himself just outside of the Kyuubi's cage. His ankles are submerged in murky water as he moves closer to the cage. The Kyuubi no Yoko doesn't move an inch, not even breathing. When Naruto touches one of the bars to the cage, the Fuin reacts and draws a tail of chakra from the Kyuubi as it overwhelms Naruto, consuming him in a sea of red chakra. Back in reality, the night sky shines with the starry pearls of the night and a crescent moon hangs overhead. It's been hours since Naruto began his spiritual journey within his own mind. Apollo joined his wife in watching over Naruto, when suddenly a gust of red chakra erupts from Naruto's body. The chakra spirals around Naruto as he channels the enormous chakra safely within his body. Once the chakra is safely absorbed, Naruto opens his eyes, revealing crimson eyes with slits. Great Naruto-kun, now focus that chakra into your heart chakra. Apollo advises. Naruto does as he focuses all the root chakra into his hand and slams his glowing palm on the center of his chest. The root chakra combines with his heart chakra as a beam of light shoots from his chest. A dimensional rift opens from his chest as a hand claws its way out, followed by another that stretches the portal wider until a fox head comes out. I'm free, the Kyuubi roars as it forces its way out of the portal. Upon landing, it realizes just how small it really is. What the hell is going on here? Why am I so fucking short? The Kyuubi roars. Waving its tail around, the Kyuubi comes to a shocking realization: where are the rest of my tails? I'm no stronger than the fucking Ichibi, and how come the brat is still alive? Kyuubi asks, utterly confused. Amira just sighs, not wishing to explain it all over again. She walks over to the Kyuubi, who growls. Amira just places her hand on Naruto. Stand down. Amira commands and Kyuubi follows her orders unwillingly. What the hell is going on here? Kyuubi roars. It was the Kyuubi no Yoko, for crying out loud. Amira walks up to the Kyuubi and places her hand on its head. Information floods the Kyuubi as it realizes the situation it's in. I am not helping him, the Kyuubi states, laying down lazily, seeing as it can't leave. Apollo saw something like this happening and smirks. Then you will never regain the tails still inside Naruto and will remain as you are now. Just wait until the other Bijou find out the great Kyuubi. Oh sorry, the Ichibi no Yoko only has one tail. After all, isn't a Bijou's power based on the number of tails they have? Apollo says with a smirk. Seeing where he's going, Amira decides to add her 2 cents. That's what I heard. I guess I forgot to tell Naruto that if the Kyuubi doesn't regain his tails in time, then the Shiki Fuin will drain the tails of chakra and they will be converted into chakra for Naruto. So help him or not, Naruto will get stronger, but if he wants to stay a one tail, Amira says, just waiting for the Kyuubi's reaction. To say the Kyuubi was pissed was beyond an understatement. It was reduced to the weakest among the Bijou, and if it didn't help the bastard child, it would never regain its power. Look, I don't like this any more than you do. I don't want to make you a slave, I only want us to be partners in this. I help you by allowing you to once again roam the earth, provided you don't go too far and you help me become stronger. I'll even sweeten the deal by not sending you back inside of me, deal? Naruto asks. The Kyuubi searched Naruto for any falsehood. It had been around for a long time and all humans ever wanted was power. They would use the Bijou as nothing more than slaves that would do their bidding, but this child was different. He couldn't find any falsehood in his words, he really wanted to work together and not force his will upon him. Fine. I'll help you, but only if you swear never to send me back to that place ever. Kyuubi declares, just thinking of returning to that abyss sent shivers down its spine. Deal, but first, Naruto says, passing out. He held on for as long as he could. Calling forth a tale of the Kyuubi's chakra was exhausting. The Kyuubi laughed at his partner, and then looked at Amira and Apollo. Can I go now? I haven't roamed the earth in 8 years. Kyuubi asks. Amira pets the Kyuubi and allows the Kyuubi to roam the forest in search of a meal. With the first phase of the Meshidesu Tetsuka complete, Apollo picks Naruto up and the trio walk back to the campsite 4 years later. Naruto age, 12, Angel age, 13, Dante's age, 13, Roland age, 13. The past 4 years had been some of the most grueling years of Naruto's life, both mentally and physically. The first year, Naruto's days were spent rotting away in the academy as he endured Iruka's boring lectures. Though Naruto respected the man for seeing past his partner, the Chunin was beyond boring. His afternoons and nights were filled with Apollo and Amira's torture. You are training, yet training. Apollo made sure to teach Naruto the mystic levels of training. The first part of his training, Amira showed Naruto the level of being strong. She taught him the difference between the physical, which she taught him fades over time, and the spiritual, which is eternal. The Kyuubi, enjoying his limited freedom, agreed to train Naruto in the ways of the Kitsune only after Apollo and Amira got Naruto to 2 taels of chakra. With the challenge set, Amira began training her son. Amira would haul him up with 2 ropes and hook them under either arm as suddenly their tautness threatened to split him in 2. Harnessed to the other end of each rope is an ox, a pair of beasts pulling with all their weight and power in opposite directions. Grimacing, Naruto had to struggle to keep his limbs, let alone his balance, and yet he stood centered like a rock. This part of the brutal daily training through which he achieved not only formidable strength and resilience but physical, mental and spiritual harmony. She would have Naruto punch trees without the use of chakra until the tree fell and start on another tree in order to reinforce his fists. She would have him stand on his head for hours on end to reinforce it as well. She would also have Naruto fight wild animals such as bulls with his bare hands and the iron neck exercise of being hung by the neck with a cloth noose. She would spar with him to teach him how to read his opponent's movements while also developing his endurance. The training was so intense, if Naruto did go to class, he'd pass out and no one could wake him, much to Iruka's ire. Another part of his strength training was to stretch his body and perform yoga positions to make him more flexible. The final part of his training was sleeping on a bed of kunai, then short swords, the long katanas and finally spears. The second year, Apollo began to teach Naruto the level of knowing the laws of the sage, the law of balance, the law of extremes, the law of karma, and the law of change. Apollo also taught Naruto how to use meditation to circulate chakra throughout his body as a form of defense. Apollo would test his flow by stabbing him with kunai in vulnerable areas. During his level of knowing, Apollo also taught Naruto the level of daring. He would have Naruto defeat villagers foolish enough to try to attack him during his grocery runs without even touching them. Naruto learned how to sense the negative flow of chakra that people with ill intent produce and simply unleash the opposite, positive flow, of his own chakra. Since his chakra was more potent than his foes, the effect was a repellent that tired the villagers out. Naruto saw it as trying to fight while in thick murky water. The third year, both Apollo and Amira began to teach Naruto the second level of power, Kyo. Kyo focused on directing the energy within his body, which Naruto was adept in. Still, the training developed his sensory withdrawal skills, making him aware of the internal sounds and vibrations. In time, the power to harmonize with his flow of internal energy enabled him to develop psychokinetic abilities. The finger entwining is similar to, and symbolic of, the 2 serpents on the medical caduceus. In fact, the caduceus may have been the source from which this kanji was derived. Since there are 2 intertwining channels of energy that unite the various centers of power within the body. This allowed Naruto to call forth not only his chakra, but 2 taels of the Kyuubi's chakra. Once Kyuubi grew another tael, he knew it was time for him to hold his end of the bargain. For the next 2 years, Kyuubi taught Naruto about the kitsunes. He taught Naruto the art of shape-shifting, which went beyond henge, since the transformation was a true transformation. It started with Naruto shape-shifting into villagers in order to not get ripped off at the market, then developed into shape-shifting into important figures. Naruto even once went to a council meeting shape-shifted as Haruno Viola. Needless to say, she was kicked out of the council. Showing your breasts to the Hokage, while offering Danzo a blowjob will do that. After Naruto had shape-shifting to a ki, Kyuubi taught him how to perform Kitsune-tsuki. Naruto found the art extremely difficult since he wasn't a full-fledged kitsune, so the Kyuubi decided to postpone this part for later. Instead, he taught him the kitsune bai. Kyuubi would never admit it aloud, but he took pride in his jinchuriki. For once, he found a human who didn't treat him like the plague or a pawn. The day before graduation, Kyuubi told Naruto his true name, Kurama. Whenever Naruto had a break, he would spend time with his surrogate family members and even the few friends he managed to gain in the academy. Among those friends were Shikamaru, Chuji, Hinata, though it took nearly 2 years for her to not faint around him, and Tenten. The upperclassmen took a shining to the outcast group. Her and Angel especially got along, seeing as Angel made her own weapons and would share with Tenten. Over the years, the group of friends would visit the Alexandros, though they were always blindfolded during. For the first year, Apollo would watch them like a hawk, but soon warmed up to the kids. He even let the kids train with them, seeing it as a means to keep his family's friends alive. Tenten graduated from the academy before them and was made Kunoichi of the Year of her thanks to the many lessons she learned from Angel and Evangela, who Tenten looked up to. After all, it wasn't every day you met a Kunoichi who specialized in weapons. Evangela saw Tenten as her adoptive daughter and even promised to make her a pair of guns when she became Chunin. Over the years, Naruto avoided the Uchiha as much as he could. Being able to sense the flow of chakra, Naruto could sense how negative the boy's chakra was and how it only worsened. What worried him even more was that the Uchiha seemed to have chakra completely opposite to his, and the Uchiha didn't hesitate to show off his arsenal of jutsus, which were well beyond academy level. Hell, some were high Chunin level. Where was he learning these jutsus? Day of graduation. The day has finally come. After 4 years of enduring boring lectures, hiding what they could really do and putting up with Mizuki trying to sabotage their grades, the Alexandros clan's children were finally about to leave the place. It had been one hell of a ride for them, but it was not without gain. Over the years, Naruto managed to make 2 friends, Shikamaru and Chuji. Dantes and Roland even befriended the two, seeing as they were nice to their fellow clansmen. Angel befriended one Hyuga Hinata and Tenten, an upperclassman. Tenten and Angel became extremely close, having a similar interest in weapons. The 3 of them would hang out around the village, and after 2 years of friendship, Angel convinced her mother to let them come visit the campsite, though they had to be blindfolded each time. Tenten even looked up to Evangela once she learned of her reputation as a master marksman and blacksmith. Evangela grew to like Tenten and Hinata as she saw them as her own daughters. She would give the girls lessons on being a kunoichi and even train them sometimes. Tenten absorbed every lesson like a sponge and stuck to them no matter how difficult. Angel enjoyed having female friends to hang around and even have girl talks. When Tenten graduated Kunoichi of the Year of her class, the entire Alexandros clan came to congratulate her, and Evangela gave her AM 1911 pistol. Tenten thanked her with tears in her eyes as she vowed to become a master marksman. Now is their time to become shinobi, and all they had to do was pass 3 tests: ninja tool, taijutsu and ninjutsu. The taijutsu portion was first and resulted in Dantes getting the highest score for males and Hinata for the females, even though she knew Angel through the match. Hinata had never been able to defeat Angel before, and Angel didn't even use any of her Jintan jutsus. The entire class is outside the academy in a wooded area. Around them were target dummies for their first test. After Irika explained the objective is to hit the bullseye, student after student tried their hand at it. Most either scored low or moderate, Shikamaru, Chuji, Shino and Kiba being the only exceptions scoring high. Uchiha Sasuke's name is called as Sasuke makes his way to the line and pulls out a handful of shuriken in one hand and kunai in his other. Sasuke launches the projectiles skillfully as they whiz through the air and hit their mark perfectly. All the girls, minus Angel and Hinata, cheer for the last Uchiha as Sasuke walks away with a smug smile on his face. Next up, Iruka calls Dantes up. Dantes wakes up from his nap and walks to the line. Dantes summons a handful of shuriken from the fuin in his outfit, something that shocks everyone in attendance, covers his eyes with his free hand and throws the shuriken at the dummy. The shuriken nail their mark masterfully as Iruka marks the results. Sasuke fumes as Dantes walks over to a tree and goes back to sleep. How dare he show him up? Next up is Angel as she walks up to the line. The boys cheer her on as Sasuke watches the girl of his dream sway. She is a true kunoichi, strong, swift and deadly. Angel flings her wrist as kunai appear and soar at her targets. They miss the targets, but go right through the dummy and a few trees before embedding themselves in a tree miles away. Angel cursed silently. She instinctively added Jintan chakra to her kunai. Angel-san, I have to admit that was impressive, but you missed the target so Iruka starts, but is interrupted by Naruto. Actually Iruka-sensei, Angel-chan hit spots that would be fatal if the dummy was a human. Naruto replies. Iruka walks over to the dummy and sees that Naruto is correct. The guys cheer for Angel, who just sighs and walks over to Naruto and hugs him as thanks. Sasuke glares at Naruto, which causes Naruto to just sigh. Marking the results, Iruka calls for Sakura to try. Sakura pulls out some kunai and tosses them at the target, trying to hit them in the same spots as Angel. She'd be damned if she let Angel steal her Sasuke-kun and spot as Kunoichi of the year. Only 4 of the 6 kunai hit their mark as the last 2 bounce off. She growls and stomps away as Iruka calls Ino up. Ino tosses her shuriken and decides to hit the targets, seeing as they were easier and nailed them perfectly. She sticks her tongue at Sakura and walks over to Sasuke. Did you see me get a perfect score, Sasuke-kun? Ino coos, but Sasuke ignores her, much to her disappointment. Next up is Naruto as he walks up to the line and hauls his palm out. From a fuin drawn into his palm, a kunai appears and Naruto tosses it at the dummy's head. Once it makes contact, the dummy is engulfed in an explosion that shakes the surrounding area. Naruto using explosive tags is forbidden in this exam. You fail. Mizuki yells. I didn't use a explosive tag, Mizuki. Naruto says, purposely omitting the sensei from his statement. That's Mizuki-sensei to you. Mizuki yells. Enough, Mizuki, I'm the one giving the test here. Naruto, I'm afraid he's right, it's clear you used explosive tags with that kunai. Iruka says sadly, not expecting Naruto to cheat. Naruto shies as he summons another of his kunai. This is my own invention, a fuin kunai. I have engraved in the blade the same fuin used to make explosive tags and have filled the inside of the kunai with explosive powder. By adding chakra to the kunai, I am able to replicate the effects of an explosive tag, but without the tag. This gives my opponent the illusion it's just a normal kunai and they will either sidestep it or grab it, which will prove fatal. Naruto explains, throwing his fuin kunai at a tree and replicating what happened to the dummy. All of Naruto's friends applaud him, seeing as he had been working on that for quite some time. Iruka is thrilled at Naruto's display as he records his results. Mizuki, on the other hand, is infuriated. Damn it. The demon isn't supposed to be this good. This complicates things greatly. I'll have to get the other instructors to reduce his scores, but with Iruka here that's impossible. Mizuki mentally fumes. Next up is Roland, who summons 2 throwing knives with ninja wire attached to the ringed bottoms. Roland skillfully throws the knives and controls their path as the knives seemingly floats and slashes the dummy to pieces as Roland tugs the knives back to him. The class stares in awe at the boy as he sits by his bother and meditates. Last, but not least, Hinata makes her way to the line and takes a deep breath to calm herself. She pulls out 2 handfuls of shuriken and launches the first handful to hit the marked targets. The other handful hits the fatal spots dead on as Irika records the results and motions for the class to head back into the class. One by one, the students were called to perform henge, bunshin, and an original jutsu of their choice. Many of the students either failed to perform one of the requirements or passed by showing E to D rank jutsus. Kiba performs the 2 jutsus and then his Jujin bunshin as Akamaru transformed into a perfect clone of Kiba. Shikamaru performs the 2 jutsus and then his clan's Kage Shirbari no jutsu. Chuji performs the 2 jutsus and then his clan's Baika no jutsu. Shino performs the 2 jutsus and then his Kikaichu no jutsu, luckily not draining either instructor's chakra. Sakura performs the 2 required jutsu so well she doesn't need to perform another. Ino performs the 2 required jutsus and her clan's Shintenshin no jutsu to possess Mizuki. Once inside his mind, Ino walks his mind until she finds what she believes to be the mirror of his mind. She sees his past and is horrified. Before she can see more, Mizuki forces her out of his mind. Ino apologizes and leaves the room terrified, making a mental note to talk to Irika after class. Next up is Hinata, who gets encouragement from her friends and walks confidently to the test room. Hinata performs the 2 required jutsus and then performs the juken gracefully. Next up is Sasuke who performs the 2 required jutsus and Katan, Gukakyu no jutsu, even showing great control as not to burn the room. As Sasuke walks out of the test room, full of pride, Naruto, Angel, Dantes and Roland talk among themselves. So what jutsus will you all be using? Roland asks, well, I'm going out with a bang. I'll use the Kitsune shapeshift, Kage Bunshin and top it off with Futon, Daitapa. Naruto says, Angel whistles at the impressive list. Please, I'm going to show these fools nintaijutsu. Dantes says. Next up is Roland, who enters the room calmly. Alright Roland-san, please show us the henge no jutsu. Irika instructs as Roland effortlessly performs said jutsu by transforming into his father, then into Apollo before cancelling the jutsu. Great job, now perform the bunshin. Irika instructs. Roland instead performs Katan, Kage Bunshin, hits the clone as Irika and Mizuki watch the clone burst into flames. Excellent work Roland, there is no need to show us another jutsu. You have passed the exam, please come back later to receive your leaf headband. Irika congratulates. Roland bows to his sensei and leaves the room. Next up is Dantes, who strolls into the room with a smirk. Alright Dantes, please perform dash. Irika starts, but Dantes stops him. Sorry teach, but I ain't performin' those jutsus. Instead, I'd like to show you the future of shinobi arts, the nintaijutsu. Dantes declares, focusing Bakutun chakra into his right fist. Bakutun, Heki Atomy. Dantes roars, an aura of yellow chakra surrounds his fist as he slams it into the wall. In an instant, the wall explodes leaving a huge hole in it. Irika and Mizuki eye bulge in awe as Dantes just smirks. I'll return for my headband later. Dantes says, walking out of the hole he made. Upon walking out, the students all stare at him in fear and awe. Ain't shit here to see people. Dantes says as he leaves the classroom. Roland just sighs as he follows his brother outside. It takes a few minutes for Irika to recover, but he resumes the exam, calling Angel into the room. Everyone can see inside the room as they anxiously await to see Angel perform the jutsus. Angel performs the henge, but decides to make a Jintan, Kage Bunshin. When Angel instructs Irika to try to hit the Bunshin, Irika finds that hitting it is nearly impossible. Once he comes within range to hit it, the clone vanishes and reappears in Irika's blind spot. This is my Jintan, Kage Bunshin. By adding Jintan chakra to a Kage Bunshin, the Bunshin is invulnerable to taijutsu and projectiles as it will evade using the Jintan chakra. This jutsu is both my version of the Bunshin and my original jutsu. Angel explains, not wanting to showcase any more of her jutsus to the spying eyes of the students. Iruka records the results and calls Naruto inside the test room. Naruto decides to finish it quickly and shape-shifts into Angel. The transformation shocks everyone watching as there's no smoke associated with the henge and they literally see Naruto's body physical change into a perfect copy of Angel. Naruto then shifts back to normal. Then Naruto performs the Kage Bunshin and makes over 30 Bunshin as everyone stares in awe. Sasuke is furious that this reject could use a Jonin-level jutsu. It's all due to that clan he was adopted into. All that power shouldn't be wasted on a low life like him, Sasuke says mentally, making a mental note to trail the group back to their home. Before Naruto can perform his next jutsu, he feels a chill go down his spine. He looks out the hole to see Angel giving him a cold glare telling him, "Don't you dare." With a sigh, Naruto decides he's done enough. Iruka couldn't contain his excitement as he wrote down the results and told Naruto he had graduated. Naruto fist pumps the air as he makes his way to Angel and the two leave the classroom. Once outside, they are greeted by the entire Alexandros clan. "Congrats Naruto-kun, you are finally a genin," Apollo says, grabbing his son in a headlock and giving him a noogie. Naruto struggles against his father but to no prevail as Amira giggles at the two. Angel is engulfed in a warm hug by her mother as her father smiles proudly at her. This calls for a celebration. Amira declares as everyone holds hands in order to leave. Sasuke watches the family from the shadows, determined to see what makes them so strong. Before his eyes, the group vanish without a trace. The Sandaime took a drag of his pipe, having filled it with his favorite blend of tobacco. Today was the day genin teams would be assigned and he knew he'd need the extra humph. He currently found himself with 3 extra genin than expected. Honestly, he should have known the Alexandros clan children would all pass, though a part of him didn't want to think about it. Now he was faced with a problem. In his office were several jounin, Hatake Kakashi, with his beloved Ika in hand. Yuhi Kurenai, who glares at Kakashi for reading such smut during an official meeting. Sarutobi Asuma, with a lit cigarette in his mouth, must be a family thing. With a surprise guest, one Tokubetsu jounin, Mitarashi Anko, why she was here she didn't know. The last thing she wanted was to take a bunch of wet behind-the-ear brats as apprentices. She was a part of the torture and interrogation department for crying out loud. The things she does on a daily basis would make these brats shit themselves. "I'm glad everyone could make it on time," looks at Kakashi, who just gives a nervous chuckle. "Now I'm sure why everyone knows why I've called you here," the Sandaime says. "Actually Hokage-sama, I could use a little clarification," Anko says, trying her best not to show just how irritated she was. The Sandaime couldn't help but sigh. This was not going to be easy at all. "Well Anko-chan, I have called you here for the same reason the jounin are here, to discuss which genin will be assigned to you," the Sandaime says, bracing himself for what was to come. "What, but Hokage-sama. I have better things to do than babysit a bunch of little blood stains." Anko roars. She swore if this was the Kage's idea of a joke, she'd slip one of her parasitic snakes in his drink. "Fuck with her and you'll literally be shitting blood and snakes." "It cannot be helped Anko. We have more graduates than we expected, and not only that, but we have 3 candidates for Shinobi of the Year and the Kunoichi of the Year scored so high it was recommended she be promoted to Chunin," the Sandaime says, reading the reports from the academy. To say those in attendance were shocked was an understatement. It had been decades since a genin was recommended to be promoted straight to Chunin. Now Anko is intrigued. "As it stands, I see 12 students becoming genin, and with our the-man cells we have a bit of a problem. Either we add another instructor to make up for the extra genin or we change the dynamic of our cells and make a 4-man cell," the Sandaime explains. "But Hokage-sama, we have always had 3-men cells. It has been a part of our tradition ever since the founding of our village," Kurenai says. "In the history of Konohagakure, especially after the legendary Sannin were formed. Genin cells always consisted of 3 genin and 1 jounin. I am well aware of that, Kurenai, but even traditions change in the face of time. Our ways have been proven to be aged and predictable, something that can spell disaster for us in the future. That is why I have decided this generation of genin will mark the new era. Now, before we decide who will be placed with whom, we must wait on an informant, the Sandaime explains. As if on cue, said informant, Apollo Alexandros appears in the room via dimensional shunshin. Those in attendance couldn't help but size the newcomer up. Little to nothing was known about the man, except that he was the clan head of the Alexandros clan. No one ever saw the man enter the village and none could ever find his clan housing. The only person who knew anything about him was the Sandaime, and he was under oath not to reveal anything concerning the man or his clan to anyone besides the council. Ah, Apollo-kun, right on time. I trust you have the information I requested, the Sandaime asks. Apollo bows in respect to the Kage and unseals stacks of files from his pockets. Yes, Hokage-sama, the mission was a complete success. If you don't mind, I would like to relay the information to my fellow Leaf Shinobi. Apollo says in an official tone. The Sandaime gives Apollo the okay as he begins to read over the files. He really should have an assistant for this. I wonder if Amira-chan is looking for work, the Sandaime thinks to himself with a small trail of blood leaking from his nose and a perverse chuckle. Apollo resists the urge to send the old pervert to the sun and relays the information. I had many of my clansmen spread throughout the elemental nations to not only sharpen their respective skills, but also to act as my own network of spies. It has come to my attention that the other nations follow the same pattern of a 3-man cell as Konoha does. That is where the similarities end, however. You see, the other hidden villages do not send their genin on D-rank missions. In fact, most genin start with C-rank or even B-rank missions. Apollo explains, getting shocked expressions from the Jounin and Tokubetsu Jounin. How can we trust the words of these so-called clansmen of yours, Apollo-san? Kakashi asks darkly. Kakashi didn't really like the man too much. Though he respected the guy for being mysterious, he felt the man took it to the extreme. Every attempt he made to follow Naruto to the clan's grounds, he would always end up right back at the village gates. Even the Hyuga allowed guests in their compound and they were as secretive as one could get. Apollo glares at the Cyclops, finding offense to Kakashi's suspensions. My clansmen have sworn our loyalty to Konoha. We have fought for this village, we have killed for this village, and despite everything done to my adoptive son, we will die for this village. Hokage-sama trusts us and that is all that matters to me. Apollo says. Kakashi clicks his teeth and just returns to reading his book, making a mental note to find out more about the man. Kurenai couldn't help but feel bad, for she too had her suspicions about the clan head. After her friend Yugugo was sent on a mission to locate the Alexandros clan grounds and failed miserably, Kurenai began to dig around for any information on the clan. Only to fail. There was no mention of the clan in any of the history books. Hell, there wasn't even any mention of them in the bingo books up until 2 years ago. The clan head only went on solo missions or missions with his fellow clansmen. No one knew anything about him, that had lived through it. Still, his actions were justified as many new clans were extremely secretive about who they let in. Asuma didn't really care one way or the other. His father seemed to trust the man, and even though he was pushing his 60s, his father was a great judge of character. Anko, well, she thought the guy was hot. Just the kind of no-shit-taking guy she was into. Too bad he was married. Moving on, the Chunin exams will be held in Konoha this year and we don't have much time to prepare the genin for this exam. There is nothing better than the home field advantage to taking the exam. If we do not change our ways, we could very well miss this opportunity to show the other villages that Konohagakure is still the top hidden village of the elemental nations. That is why, Hokage-sama, I recommend we start giving all genin cells G-rank missions. Apollo suggests. I cannot deny the logic behind your plan, Apollo-kun, but could you explain what these G-rank missions will entail? The Sandaime asks, fairly intrigued by the proposition. Gladly, G-rank missions will be between D and C-rank missions. They will play on each team's specialties and help them develop their skills while at the same time, giving them real-life experience as shinobi. For example, Team 8 is a known tracking team, so all G-rank missions concerning them will be to find a certain target. These missions could be inside the village, but most will have them leaving the village. Team 7 is an all-around team, so their G-rank missions will consist of bounty hunting, which we all know is a shinobi's bread and butter. While Team 10's G-ranked missions will consist of low-level infiltration and interrogation. Apollo explains. You wish to turn these kids into Hunter Nines and TNI candidates? Kurenai asks, finding the idea appalling. Did they want another Itachi? If the record is correct, Kakashi-san was jounin at their age and had already killed long before that. Konohagakure is in a period of peace at the moment, which I will agree is every shinobi's true goal. However, we cannot allow ourselves to lose our edge because of the peace, lest we are faced with another Kyuubi incident or worse an invasion. Apollo responds. Kurenai couldn't find fault in the man's argument. This is quite the proposal, Apollo-kun. It would take a lot of resources and extra pairs of eyes to ensure the children not only remain safe, but keep their sanity. Are you offering your assistance? The Sandaime asks with hope in his tone. Though Apollo rejected the title of jounin instructor every year, the Hokage was hopefully with his clan's children in the program he'd have a change of heart. I'm afraid I must decline your offer, Hokage-sama, for the same reason other clan heads are not permitted to become jounin instructors. It would create a bias among the teams since my clansmen will be put on the teams and they are used to my teaching methods. I would have to spend most of my time teaching the others and in effect ignore my clansmen, something I cannot do. However, I do recommend placing a Tokubetsu jounin to assist the jounin in not only training 4 genin, but also make sure they don't get a mission over their heads. Apollo explains. The Hokage could only sigh, but agreed nonetheless. Very well, I have decided the genin and their instructors. Anyone not in attendance will be notified of the newest assignment and briefed before meeting their teams. Now then, Team 7's instructors will be Hitaki Kakashi and Mitarashi Anko. Your genin will be Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke, Alexandros Uzumaki Naruto and Alexandros Dante. The Sandaime says. Kakashi couldn't help the perverted chuckle that escaped his mouth, only to have it silenced as a boa coiled around his groin. Let me warn you in advance, Kakashi Baka, if you ever read that orange book in my presence, not only will I burn it, I'll leave you infertile. Anko says, taking the files on her charges and shunshinning away. All the guys in attendance subconsciously guarded their manhoods in fear. Kakashi didn't even move, seeing as the snake had yet to leave. Okay, Team 10's instructor will be. Is anyone else finding themselves afraid of snakes? The Sandaime asks. Immediately all the males raise their hands, all except Kakashi, who was too scared to move. Said snake coiled even tighter around his groin as Kakashi swallowed the lump in his throat. The snake hissed at them as the males all cower away. Kurenai couldn't help but giggle. Serves the pervs right in her opinion. Anyway, Team 10's instructors will be Sarutobi Asuma and Geku Heiate. Your genin will be Yamanaka Ino, Akimichi Chuji, Nara Shikamaru and Alexandros Angel, the Sandaime says. Asuma smokes the rest of his cigarette and flicks it in the trash before taking the files and shunshinning out of the office. Turning to Kurenai, the Sandaime reads her charges. That leaves Team 8's instructors Yuhi Kurenai and Shiranui Genma. Your genin will be Hyuga Hinata, Inazuka Kiba, Aburame Shino and Alexandros Roland, the Sandaime says. Kurenai bows as she shunshins out of the office. That just leaves Kakashi, Apollo and his trouser snake. Hokage-sama, could you? Kakashi suggests, pointing to the snake that snaps at his finger. Are you kidding me? I'm not going anywhere near that thing, the Sandaime says. Apollo chuckles as he uses a low-level katana to remove the snake and keep Kakashi's package intact. You're welcome. Apollo says, just about to leave via dimensional shunshin, but is halted by the Hokage. I'm afraid we have business to attend Apollo-kun. Yet another meeting to discuss recent trades with Takigakure, the Sandame says. Apollo could only groan, it was the downside of being a clan head. Hokage-sama, those meetings are so fucking boring. All it is a bunch of civilian merchants complaining about how they can't expand their businesses because everyone is jealous of Konoha's power. Maybe if they got off their high horse people would be more inclined to trade with them. Apollo grumbled. There was nothing he could do about it, it was his job as clan head, it was the one of the only ways to protect his clan from the prying eyes of the elders and Danzo. After losing more than a dozen Rudambu, Danzo wised up and stopped trying to infiltrate his home grounds. That didn't stop him from trying to use Naruto's friends though. How he got tracking Fuins on the kids without them noticing was beyond him, but you don't become clan head of a clan with various abilities, one being Fuinjutsu, without picking up a few things. With a sigh, Apollo follows the Hokage into the council chambers as Kakashi wisely puts his book away and begins to track Anko. He needed to look at his charges files at Ichiraku Ramen, and you said I'd never take you to Ichiraku. Naruto says with one of his famed foxy grins. Today was the day him and his friends would finally become genin. No more homework, no more boring lectures, and no more fangirls. Kami thank you, he'd be free of fangirls. When I said treat me to ramen, I didn't mean bring the others with us, Angel says with a huff. Joining the young couple are Chuji, Shikamaru, Tenten and of course Hinata. Hey, it wasn't my idea to bring them. Naruto defends himself, slurping down his 10th bowl of ramen. Tucci chuckled at the two blondes. Young love was always a great form of entertainment, too bad his friends cock-blocked them. Don't be like that, Naruto, this may be the last time we get to hang out like this. Chuji says, gleefully devouring his 11th bowl of pork ramen. Not one to be beaten in eating ramen, Naruto orders. Another 6 bowls and begins to devour bowl after bowl with gusto. Ayam always found herself the busiest whenever Naruto and company came to the shop. The money was great, but damn it, the boy could eat you out of business alone. Shikamaru could only sigh as he ate his 1 bowl of miso ramen, mumbling about how his friend's table manners sucked. Aw, did we ruin your chance to confess your oof? Tenten starts, but has the air knocked out of her as Angel Jintan strikes her in the solar plexus and sends a glare her way that says, shut your fucking face. Angel-chan, is there something you want to tell me? Naruto asks, though he has long expected the girl had feelings deeper than siblings should. Angel never came out and said it. What was worse, the girl could hide her emotions and intent so well not even Evangela could read her, and she was easily Umbu level. Yeah, Chuji is currently beating you. Angel says, eating her 3rd bowl of chicken ramen. With a gasp, Naruto gives his undivided attention to his ramen. Tenten can't help but giggle, though painfully as her stomach was still in pain. You didn't have to hit so damn hard, Angel-chan. Tenten yells, ready to shoot the girl in her leg. Hey, it wasn't fatal if treated in a timely fashion. That was a love tap. Angel says, finishing her bowl and paying her tab. Her plan was totally ruined, so there was no point in staying. See you guys at the academy, let's go, Hina-chan. Angel says, grabbing a hold of Hinata and leaving in a Jintan Shunshin. Angel wasn't a fool, there was no way she'd let Hinata stay with Naruto without her around. She knew all about her crush on her Naru-kun, and she'd be damned if she lost to Hinata. It was bad enough wherever Naruto went Hinata followed, like a little stalker. That girl was too bad. It wasn't illegal, if anything it's encouraged. For once, Angel-chan has the right idea. We wouldn't want to be late for our final day in the academy. Shikamaru says, paying for his meal and walking towards the academy. Naruto and Chuji still have another 17 bowls of ramen left. You just don't walk away from food like that. A few hours later at the academy, Naruto completely zones out Irika's speech about them finally becoming shinobi and the responsibilities entitled with the leaf handband and yada yada. Who cares? It's not like we haven't heard this 1,000 times already. Naruto says mentally, thanking Kami Irika can't read minds and that Ino is too much of a spaz to try. Deciding to both entertain and train himself, Naruto studies his possible teammates. Shika is one smart SOB, even Otusan has trouble beating him in shogi. Too bad his chakras are blocked by his sloth demeanor. Naruto analyzes Shikamura, who is currently busy, drooling on his desk. Chuji-kun is a guy of my own heart. Also, all lessons from Dante Ajisen really paid off. Naruto analyzes Chuji, who is currently eating a bag of chips with gusto. That's what this place needs. A team that'll just demolish everything in its path. Kyuubi roars mentally inside his head. Naruto resists the urge to rub his temples. You know, you're sitting right next to me, you could just, I don't know, talk to me outside my mind? Naruto asks. Sitting next to him, is an average-looking student with brown spiky hair and brown eyes. If one looks closely, they can see the small slit of his iris, and the fangs hanging from the edges of his mouth. And risk my popularity by talking to the Kyuubi brat? Not a chance. Kyuubi mocks mentally, his booming laughter echoing throughout Naruto's mind. Not wanting to get in a mental battle, Naruto severs the mental link between them and goes back to analyzing. Ino and Sakura are out of the question. I mean, I'll admit Sakura is kind of cute, in that she'd probably give it up, kind of way, but as far as being a kunoichi, she has a long way to go. Hell, at least Sakura has an excuse being from a civilian family. Ino is a freaking clan heiress for Kami's sake. She should be groomed for battle and yet she's this Barbie doll reject. Naruto analyzes both girls, just finding them immature. Neither of them were ready to be shinobi. Then we have Kiba-san. He's cool, I guess, kind of smells like sweaty dog and is a bit mutt. His bark is worse than his bite, that's for sure. Still, he seems loyal enough. Naruto analyzes Kiba, who is also asleep on his desk, with his dog Akamaru joining his master. Hinata-chan is a wild card. While I can see great potential in her, she's just too shy. She needs to gain more confidence in herself if she ever wants to be a true kunoichi. Naruto analyzes Hinata, who sees him looking at her and looks away with an eep. Kami, damn it, if it's not cute though, Naruto admits with a blush. Suddenly, he feels a chill run down his spine. Recognizing the Ki, Naruto looks over to Angel, who just smiles and waves at him. Naruto just chuckles nervously and waves back. Keeping waving, Naruto, show her you care so she can release you from her grasp, Naruto says, mentally panicking from the Ki concentrating and crushing him. Once she sees him sweat, Angel cancels the Ki and listens to Irika. Naruto silently pants to recover his breath. Now Angel-chan is a true kunoichi. Strong, stealthy, honorable and sexy. Naruto thinks before the Kyuubi throws his 2 cents in. What the hell are you talking about, Cuddles? Angel-chan is like my sister, we're in the same clan for Kami's sake. Naruto proclaims. Oh come on Kit, don't you lie to me. Remember about a year ago, when you two went hunting? Kyuubi asking. If you look at the brown-eyed boy, you could see him grinning a fanged grin. Naruto sees flashes, taking him back to that cold night flashback 1 year ago. It was a dark night, with the only source of light being the moon itself. Even the stars hide from the darkness of the night that blankets the woods surrounding Konoha. Naruto found himself completely lost in the woods, absolutely no light to find his way. No doubt Angel-chan's doing. I'll tell ya, her Junsui Kuraimi is scary good. Coating an entire area in darkness so thick it covers the sky, Naruto said to himself mentally. Staying calm was his best option if he were to locate his foe. Naruto heard a footstep echo to the right of him, but he knew better than to take her bet. Angel-chan can use the silent way better than I can. She'd never be foolish enough to let someone hear her, not even with chakra-enhanced hearing. Naruto said, before he ducked under a snap kick aimed for his head. On instinct, Naruto reached up to grab her leg, only to grab her inner thigh. Not even her genjutsu could hide the blush on Angel's face, shattering her genjutsu. Well, I have to say that's one way to break my spell. Angel said with a seductive smirk. Realizing where his hand was, Naruto quickly recoiled his hand and throws his hands up in a defensive position. I swear to Kami I didn't mean to do that. I mean I couldn't really see and I just went on pure primal instinct. Naruto defended. Angel just sighs, too bad, because I was kind of hoping you did mean it, Angel says dejected. Deciding she was done, Angel walked back to the camp, leaving Naruto completely boggled, but it did lead him to grow curious on women. Which lead to his cousin to give him scrolls on women's studies, psychology and even one on sexuality. Amira felt since Naruto hit puberty at age 8, that by 13 he should at least know what was coming. Flashback and shaking his head to rid himself of any more memories, Naruto decides to analyze some more people, seeing as Irika had yet to announce teams. Kami, how long can he drag this out? Anyway, Dantes is more of a bomber than Shinobi. Though he can be silent when he needs to, the guy just loves explosions too much to stay silent long. Still, the guy knows how to blow some shit up better than anyone I know. He's the kind of guy you want as your wingman when you're surrounded by the enemy. Naruto analyzes Dantes, who is reading the latest bingo book, no doubt given to him by his Otusan. Unlike Naruto, who just looks at the bingo book to memorize the faces of all C to S rank shinobi, Dantes actually spends the time to go over every shinobi placed on it. Roland is the complete opposite. A rather calm and collected kind of guy. His brother has Bakutun and he has Meitun. He understands the flow of chakra and thus can react with it, either to go with it or absorb it. Naruto analyzes, having flashes to the day that variability both saved and almost cost him his life. Flashback 2 years ago, Amira makes sure the area is sealed. Roland, I need you to take care of Naruto while I purify the demonic chakra. The last thing we need is for Konoha to think we're unleashing the Kyuubi. Apollo commanded. Amira did the Madra for Retsu, mastery of time and space, as violet light shined from her hands. Weaving her fingers gracefully, Amira formed a double-layered fuin and slammed it on the ground. Mystical kanji erupted from the seal and formed a large radius around them. On the outside of the radius, a thin lavender dome could be seen by those that could see chakra. For those who can't, nothing had changed. In the center of them lays a savage Naruto, eyes red from all the Kyuubi yukai coursing through him. He growled and struggled against the chakra fuin etched in the center of his chest and the gravity seals on his wrists and ankles. Despite Apollo constantly pumping chakra into the restraints, Naruto in his two-tailed form seemed to be giving him a difficult fight. Roland flashed through the mudra for Sha, healing of self and others. A vapor of black and purple miasma surrounded his hands. Meitun, Kan Kurina. Apollo-sensei, I can force the negative energy out, but it's up to you to filter it. Roland declared, approaching the wild Naruto. Naruto's chakra reacted to Roland's Meitun chakra as it flared and howled the closer he gets. You just couldn't resist the chance to take your kitsune ball and leave, could you? Roland asked seemingly no one. However, a dark chuckle echoed through the field as the demonic yukai takes the form of Kyuubi's face. What can I say? I hate being connected to weaklings. If he can't handle 2 of my tails, he's worthless. The Kyuubi snarled, snapping its chakra fangs at Roland as sparks of chakra touched and burned him. Roland said a silent prayer before he placed his hands on Naruto's forehead. His Meitun chakra easily penetrated the demonic yukai and entered Naruto's head. For a few seconds nothing happened, but before the Kyuubi could chuckle, he found all of his yukai being expelled from Naruto. Once all his yukai was out of Naruto's body, he could feel it being sucked inside the void that was the spawn, for way open, mouth coming out of Apollo's chest. The last thing Kyuubi saw was the spawn snap its jaws shut. That should keep the Kyuubi's yukai under wraps until Naruto-kun can handle it. Apollo says, ripping the spawn head off his chest and sealing it in a scroll. Flashback end, this year marks the beginning of a new breed of shinobi. It is with great honor that I tell you, you are all a part of a new shinobi program. Irika says with valor. Many of the students are shocked to hear this. What did this new program entitle, and would it make them better shinobi? To the Alexandros children, it was old business. Basically just telling them instead of 3 men squads with 1 jounin instructor, they'd be having 4 men squads along with 1 jounin instructor and a tokubetsu jounin instructor. Hey, how did you don't even bring that incident up, Baka? I was just curious, damn, Naruto says mentally, cutting the link off so he can focus on the last choices before Irika could start assigning teams. Shino is a mystery, even to me. I've had to search my person for one of his Kikaichu every day since I got to the academy. The guy is going to make a damn good spy and a fine shinobi. Naruto analyzes Shino and, as if on cue, removes one of the boy's little insects off his arm. Since the boy isn't an enemy, Naruto never crushes the bugs, something he's sure Shino would appreciate. That just left Uchiha Sasuke. If you love me, Kami, you will not put me on his team. I mean, he is textbook definition emo, all he needs is his own clothing store with pierced-up employees and he'd be king. Still, he does have talent, maybe not as much as he thinks he does, but talent nonetheless. Naruto analyzes Sasuke, who he can tell is looking at Angel. Why does that piss him off so much? Team 7 will be Haruno Sakura, said girl perks up at the mention of her name. Hoping that she is paired with her Sasuke-kun. Alexandros Uzumaki Naruto, 2 people slam their heads on the table. Uchiha Sasuke, 1 bubble gum-haired preteen instantly shoots up with a bubbly smile and screams for joy. Meanwhile, 1 blonde clan heiress is crying bitter tears. And Alexandros Dantes. Your senseis will be Hatake Kakashi and Mitarashi Anko. Irika says. Naruto perks up a bit at hearing his clansman's name. Looking over at Dantes, Naruto sees him smirk and pump his fist in the air. Naruto joins him as the 2 share a Alexandros moment. Damn it, I wanted to be on Naru-kun's squad. Well, at least Hinata-chan lost out too. Angel says mentally. Her face going from a frown to a devilish smile, totally creeping some of the boys out. Does anyone else have a boner right now? A random kid whispers, or at least tries to whisper. Honestly, who whispers in a room full of shinobi? Anyway, Team 8 shall be Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata, Inazuka Kiba and Alexandros Angel. Your senseis will be Yuhi Kurnai and Shiranui Genma. Irika says. Angel and Hinata give each other a quick glance and with a nod they turn back to Irika, some unspoken agreement being made between them. And Team 10 shall be Yamanaka Ino, Nara Shikamaru, Akimichi Chuji and Alexandros Roland. Your senseis will be Sarutobi Asuma and Geku Hayate. Irika says. With final words of congratulations, Irika leaves the room as the newly appointed genin wait for their new senseis. Leave it to Kakashi to be late for the first G-rank mission in Konoha history. Anko says with an annoyed grunt. She had been searching for nearly 2 hours for the man. All the usual places, training grounds, bookstores, his apartment, left no trace of where he could be. There wasn't even any dirt I could use on the guy. No Ika, no photos, no nothing. Anko says with a pout. Gracefully gliding from rooftop to rooftop, Anko races throughout the city of Konohagakure. The sun blazes its heat around Konoha, the civilians below bustle about their business. Even with her viper-like sight, Anko can't find Kakashi anywhere in the downtown area. Gliding from the roof to a telephone pole, Anko sits in full lotus. Alright, this is getting me nowhere. Hell, now I'm late because of him. Anko says mentally, her face souring at the thought. Taking a few deep breaths, Anko calms herself and thinks clearly. Kakashi may act like a baka, but the guy is a war veteran. An A-rank shinobi with a kill-on-sight order, you don't live through that being a baka. Now where would a war veteran go? Anko wonders before realization struck her. She can't help but smile at figuring it out, it was so obvious. Raising to her feet, Anko gracefully runs across the thin telephone line before leaping to a nearby building and wall, running up it to the rooftop. Searching for training ground 3, Anko uses her binocular vision to scope out a figure at the Konoha Memorial Stone. Like a snake, Anko sends chakra to her tongue, hisses and sends chakra in 2 directions, combining both taste and smell. Yep, definitely Kakashi. I'd recognize that odor, oh, wolf anywhere. Anko says before shunshining in a typhoon of leaves at the memorial site. Kakashi, for once, wasn't reading his Aika. To anyone who looked on the surface, Kakashi looked as aloof as ever. Same blank, and lazy expression as always, but if you looked underneath the underneath, one could tell Kakashi was staring at a particular name on the kunai-shaped memorial. Obito, Kakashi sighs mentally. The mere name sends Kakashi back to the day his life changed forever. Flashback, Kakashi age 13. Kakashi stared in horror once the dust cleared from the Doton, Iwayato Kuzushi. His teammate and new best friend had the entire right side of his body completely crushed by a giant boulder. Tears began to effortlessly fall from Kakashi's face at the sight of his friend and teammate. Blood was splashed out of his mouth and yet he had a pleasant smile on his face. Kakashi rushes to his friend's side as he tries to push the boulder off of him. Don't, it's okay, Kakashi. Obito said with a tired voice, blood pooling from his mouth. Obito gasped, trying to get air into his crushed body. He knew he wouldn't make it. I don't think I can make it, my right side is completely crushed. I can't even feel anything anymore, the pain is finally gone, Obito gasped with a smile. Kakashi tried to focus chakra into his arms to increase his strength, but the boulder didn't even budge. Kakashi gave up, screaming profanities, slamming his fists into the boulder. Rin can't believe her eyes, crying them out and holding her hand over her mouth to block the cries. She looks away from the sight, until Obito coughs up some blood. Obito! Rin screamed, no longer holding in as she cried for her fallen friend. Why did that have to happen? Why did Obito have to? Kakashi fell to his knees and slammed his fists on the ground. Damn it! If only I listened to you, and come to rescue Rin in the first place, this would have never happened. Kakashi screamed in sorrow. He failed his sensei and his teammates, he was worse than scum. So what if I'm a captain? So what if I'm a jounin? Kakashi said, grunting his teeth to hold back his tears. Oh yeah, I had forgotten, Obito said, using his remaining strength to test his left hand. The only one who didn't give you a gift for becoming a jounin. Kakashi. Obito says, twitching his fingers to try to move them. Flashback end, Kakashi touches his headband where said gift is located. With a sigh, Kakashi steps to the side, a leaf typhoon swirls where he was once located. Once the typhoon dies down, one Anko stands next to Kakashi with a knowing expression. This was not the place to goof around. A lot of shinobi and kunoichi lost their lives for the sake of both the mission and Konohagakure, the ultimate display of patriotism and honor. Looks like you found, Anko-chan. Let's see what she's won, ladies and gentlemen. Kakashi says with his signature eye smile. Anko finds it both amazingly simple to read and yet devilishly mysterious at the same time. Touché, Kakashi, Anko says mentally. Alright, how's about you get to the academy in 5 minutes? Not 5 minutes after an hour, 5 minutes, 130 seconds. For each second you're late, I'll add another Barbados thread snake to your meals, all of them. Anko says with a devilish smirk, hissing to add effect, before shunshining to the academy. Kakashi pays his respect to his fallen teammate before making the ram seal and disappearing in a puff of smoke. Barbados thread snakes are about 4 inches in length. Anko is known for her vindictive nature, having placed said snakes in the pants of one guy foolish enough to grope her. At the academy, all jounin, Tokubesta jounin, and their newly formed genin squad were currently waiting for the MIA Hatake Kakashi and Mitarashi Anko. Teams 8 and 10 had already met their senseis and were all introduced, only staying to wait for their colleagues. Kurenai expected this from Kakashi, hell, even Anko's absence made sense. Anko-chan was always one for theatrics. Kurenai says, deciding to go over the mission scroll one more time. This is the first G-rank mission, possibly in the entire world. It will involve all newly formed team specialties. Team 8 would be the tracking unit, searching and finding the target. Team 7 would be the unit to take down the enemy, and Team 10 would interrogate the enemy for information. On paper, it sounds like a simple C-rank mission. However, after growing up during the times of the Third Shinobi World War, she knew was anything below a B-rank mission. Asuma is currently smoking one of his cigarettes, the only thing keeping him from finding Kakashi himself and trapping him in his futon, Kaze Kachu. He was done to his last pack and only had 2 left. Genma just chews on his long senbon, while reading a scroll on practical uses for genjutsu. Hei-8 is busy cleaning the blood off a kunai, something that did not go unnoticed by the gathered genin. Where are they? Ino and Sakura scream, causing all with or without sensitive hearing to wince in pain. Naruto was having his patience tried by his senseis. I don't think I can take those 2 screaming one more time. This is worse than having to remain calm while being shoot. Naruto mentally groans. From what he gathered from the other senseis, the 3 squads would be the first genin to ever take a G-rank mission. Failure was not an option for any of the young genin. If they failed this, it would be the ultimate black spot on their record. If they weren't sent back to the academy, they'd be stuck doing D-rank missions. Tenten told Naruto all about those glorified chores, and having the chance to take missions similar to this was too tempting to pass up. Sucks to be Ten-chan. Naruto jokes mentally, failing to hide the chuckle from the others. What's so funny, Dobe? Sasuke says, his ever-present, holier-than-thou, aura lacing all over him. Sakura and Ino are posted in the seats next to their idol, both trying to get his attention. Oh, nothing much. Just your little worshippers over there. Don't they know idol worship is bad for their health? Naruto jokes, flashing his foxy grin. Naruto has the uncanny ability to make people laugh. The entire room chuckling or giggling is proof enough to that claim. The laughter is silenced when a eerie ki leaks from Ino and Sakura, who glare death at Naruto. Wow, that genjutsu is awesome. It makes you look so creepy in that dark atmosphere that surrounds you. Brilliant, I say, brilliant. Naruto says with mock humor. His attempt to clown his way out of trouble fails, only serving to anger the preteen girls more. Ino and Sakura walk over towards Naruto, then jog, and before long, they're dashing over towards him. Oh no, they're picking up speed. They're running right at me. Naruto mentally says with mock horror. The 2 preteens cock back their fists and subconsciously pump chakra into their fists. Naruto can feel it. Even though the only jutsu Naruto knew were Kage Bunshin, Shuriken Kage Bunshin, Kunai Kage Bunshin, Kawarimi, variants to Shunshin, and summoning, it was how he used what he knows that made him unique. That, and he was a C-rank sealer and could sense chakra. When Sakura and Ino are close enough, Naruto naturally weaves out of the way. Sakura and Ino stumble before falling on their faces, their raging chakras blinded them. Angel giggles at the foolish girls, trying to hit my Naruto-kun. Those 2 might as well have came at him running in mud. Sasuke just grunts HN, not really caring if the dobe got lucky and actually dodged his attackers. Before the now embarrassed and pissed preteens were about to get up and try again, until a whirlwind of leaves sends them flying back to their seats roughly. When the whirlwind dies down, the genin all have mixed reactions at what they see. What the hell am I seeing? Naruto says with a blush. The wind from her shunshin blows her clothes around, showing off all her feminine assists. She's wearing a fishnet body suit that frames her battle-primed body. Equipped with metal shin guards and a tan trenchcoat with deep pockets on both sides, and who couldn't notice the orange skirt? Did I mention my favorite color is orange? Kyubi says from within Naruto's mind. They didn't want to risk one of the more detail-orientated jounin to spot his disguise. Mine too, Naruto admits, following along with the rest of the male's actions of staring at said woman. Before Kurenai can finish one of her personal anti-perv genjutsu, a puff of smoke erupts next to Anko. coughing can be heard as both Hayate and Kakashi try to fan the smoke away from them. Shouldn't have overshot that Shunshin, Kakashi says through coughs. Once the smoke is cleared, Kakashi clears his throat. Before he can speak, Anko adds some chakra to a scroll, tosses it up in the air, and a banner that says, Mitarashi Anko, Konoha Seductress. And Hatake Kakashi, fireworks and streamers comes from the scroll center. Several of the male genin, minus Sasuke, applaud the woman for her entrance. 9/9. Naruto and Kyuubi say with a sign that reads 9. 10. Kiba says with valor, holding a sign that reads 10, please be my sensei. Sasuke just HN, but with a noticeable blush compared to the Uchiha's normally pale skin. Shino just fixes his glasses, something all glasses wearers know is a constant thing. Though the bugs within him were buzzing with activity. Chuji stops eating his chips, pulls out a scroll, adds chakra to it and unseals a slice of watermelon. He takes a huge bite out of the fruit as juice gushes out. Shikamaru finds himself caught in a thought experiment. I am the closest I have ever been to seeing a naked woman, this is good. However, it is in front of Ino, who hates perverts. This sucks, so does this situation suck or not? Shikamaru's mind juggles the idea around his head, while Roland looks on absently. Dantes does a wolf whistle, that Kakashi joins in. All the females, minus one smirking Anko, were glaring at the men, sending them a wave of ki that destroyed any sexual energy the guys could produce. You're late. Ino and Sakura roar, only to have cuts appear on their cheeks and thin layers of blood leaking out. Slowly looking behind them, the two preteens see a pair of kunai lodged into the wall. Looking back in front of them, they see Anko's stretched out arms and make the mistake to look into her chocolate brown eyes. You leave that shit in this room. From now on, when you are in my presence, you will behave like Kunoichi. Anko says darkly. The two preteens gulp and shake their heads fervently. Well, since introductions are out of the way, why don't we begin this mission briefing? Kakashi says with his ever-present aloof face. The young genin drop all playful or skittish behavior in order to listen intently to their first mission. As you may or may not know, yesterday after graduation, an informant came to the Hokage with some concerns. Kurenai says in a professional manner. Ino can't help but smile proudly, knowing she was the so-called informant. Take that 5-head. Ino says mentally, sending a victory smirk Sakura's way. She was one step closer to winning Sasuke's heart. Kawaii. It turns out, Mizuki had contact with an S-rank criminal of Konoha and became an instructor in order to find the perfect fall guy for his plan. Anko says, failing to hide the scowl on her face. To think Mizuki had made contact with that man, she should have kept an eye on the weasel. I'm almost afraid to ask, but what was his original plan? Naruto asks, for some reason not liking the sounds of this mission. Well, as it turns, Mizuki planned to take the dead last student and give him a so-called extra credit so he could pass the exam. However, that plan was a bust, since the informant had contacted the Hokage beforehand. Kurenai says, trying to leave out a certain detail about the incident. And that's when Mizuki hinged into one Alexandros Uzumaki Naruto and stole, what he believed, was the forbidden scroll of Fuin. Unknown to him, Hokage-sama relocated the scroll and left a scroll containing low-level Uchiha clan fire scrolls. Kakashi says, revealing just about everything about a supposed rank secret to a group of genin. Kurenai glares at her fellow jounin, who just shrugs aloofly. The mission involves at least 3 of the genin, they might as well know. Kakashi says, reaching for his Ika, until he hears a snake hiss. Kakashi wisely puts the book back in his pouch, causing Anko to smile warmly. To say the genin were shocked was an understatement. How dare that no-name reject steal from the Uchiha? They will never find his body, Sasuke says mentally, subconsciously rubbing the feather tattoo on his right hand. Mwahahaha, yes, bring me the life force of those that dare stand to the glory of the Uchiha. Bazin roars from within the feather seal. Yes, all shall fall before the Uchiha, Sasuke chants mentally, smirking smugly to himself. That baka hinged into me? Naruto asks outraged. To steal a shinobi's name was one thing, but to steal their appearance and commit crimes in their names? That was actually quite clever. Perhaps he underestimated the Chunin. Still, this had to be dealt with quietly and swiftly. Despite Mizuki having low-level katan jutsus, he has still stolen private property from Konoha with intent to sell it to an enemy. It is because of this, that Hokage-sama believes this is the best way to test your skills as shinobi and kunoichi. Failure is not an option. Kurenai says, adding a oppressing aura to the room to add effect. Some of the lesser genin gulp, but they're all in agreement. This is a joint mission, using each of your unique abilities to take down the threat. Team 8, it is our job to track the enemy and see if capture is possible. Kurenai says, reaching into one of her pockets and removing a piece of cloth with Mizuki's scent. Kiba-san, I need you to take a whiff of this and see if you and Akamaru can pick up a trail. Kurenai commands, but Kiba doesn't take it. After 4 years of enduring those boring-ass class, I have his scent memorized. The baka didn't get that far, I can smell him just leaving the village. Kiba says smugly. Kurenai nods, impressed that Kiba's sense of smell was so keen, no doubt thanks to Hana. Kurenai-sensei, I would like to inform you that I have one of my Kikaichu currently tracking Mizuki. Shino says, readjusting his glasses. Kurenai couldn't help but feel pride in her time, so far they seemed up to the task. Listen up Team Anko. Anko yells, her team instantly fall in line and await orders. We are the muscle in this mission. We are tasked with bringing Mizuki down, alive if possible, but dead is fine. Anko says. Hey! How come they get all the action? Kiba yells, outraged that he was stuck with being a glorified bloodhound, while Team 7 got to fight the traitor. Kurenai flashes through hand seals and before Kiba knows it, he finds himself running in the forests of Konoha. His nose is filled with Mizuki's scent, he is so close. Kiba could prove he is the alpha among his graduation class. Mizuki stops running and turns around, with a Fuma shuriken in hand. Before Kiba can get to the next tree limb, Mizuki hurls his weapon at Kiba. Not being able to dodge in midair, Kiba tries to bend out of the way, but fails as the shuriken cuts through his body. Kiba sees his blood and organs spill out of him long before the pain settles in. Aha! Kiba screams, holding onto his missing bottom half, only to see that he is perfectly fine. Everyone looks at him like he's gone crazy. Kiba just looks at Kurenai, who has a knowing grin. Being shinobi is not about fame and fortune. It is not about saving the princess and living a life of luxury. Your job is to follow orders and preserve the peace of your village. If any of you have notions of getting into the bingo books with an S-rank status under your name, you walk a foolish path. To true shinobi, information is golden and the more you know the better off you'll be. If an enemy has information on you, they can devise counter-strikes against you. Genma says sagely, though it only gets to some of the genin. That leaves Team 10 with the interrogating Mizuki for whatever information we can obtain. Asuma says, smoking the last of his cigarettes, flicking the bud in the trash. Do you cough accept this mission cough? Hayat says through coughs. All genin present give a salute. Then what are you waiting for? Bring us our nuke Nin. Anko commands as the genin all rush out of the room, some in Shunsin variants and some just running out. 12 newly instated genin run in a star formation. At the point flank, Kiba leads with Hinata to his left and Shino to his right. Kiba couldn't help the feeling of pride he felt at this moment. Inazuka Kiba, leading a squad of 12 genin into battle. Let's see Hana Nechan beat that. Kiba says mentally with a smug smirk that threatened to tear his face in half. Easy there Kiba, we can't afford to let your pride blind you. I will not go back to that genjutsu world. Akamaru barks to his master. Akamaru had to give Kurenai her props. She was able to use a double-layer genjutsu on both him and Kiba almost instantaneously. Akamaru would never look at a bone the same way again. Relax boy, I won't lose my edge, Kiba says to Akamaru. To the other genin, Kiba's behavior is a bit primal. Talking to dogs wasn't normal. Naruto could only chuckle, being one of few who can actually speak to and understand animals. Team Enko make up the rear flank, waiting for the signal to engage. His heart races with root chakra, the excitement of battle raging his soul. Naruto focuses on a single point to keep himself from getting too excited. A true shinobi rules his emotions, he is not ruled by them. The target had a 2-hour head start of the young genin, so they were basically playing catch-up. Figuring it's best to prepare beforehand, Naruto begins to channel Kyuubi's Yukai into his Tenketsu. Once the shot of power hits Naruto's system, all his senses flare. Dante's Kuin is subconsciously building small traces of Kabaku Nendo in his fists and legs. Naruto analyzes. Only those with Dojutsu, or highly trained senses, can see the near-invisibly small mouth screaming from Dante's pores, spitting out small traces of Bakutun clay. Angel-chan is subconsciously adding Jintun chakra to her limbs. I doubt Angel-chan even knows how to separate it into its base elements. Naruto analyzes. Naruto can see chakra and how it is affected by a person's element manipulation. Looking over the group of genin, Naruto can see his fellow genin's nature. Through Naruto's sapphire-slit eyes, one could see that Kiba, Chuji and Shino's souls are protected by will as strong as rock. Sasuke's soul is in a chaotic dance of fire and lightning. Shikamaru and Ino's souls are shrouded in a veil of Inton, In release, while Hinata's soul is graceful like a pond. Sakura's soul is covered in a curtain of Yoton, Yang release. Dante's soul looks ready to burst, while Roland's is clouded by Meiton, dark release. Angel's soul merges both lighting and wind in a powerful display of Jintun. Knowing everyone's nature helps Naruto formulate the right plan to ensure the mission will be complete. Alright everyone, Mizuki has stopped running, Kiba says into a headphone. Everyone stops on a dime, making sure to stay a good distance away from the enemy. Team 8's job was done, but they decided to stick around to provide backup, if needed. Team 10 also took the time to gather themselves. Alright Team 7, the objective is simple. Bring Mizuki back to Konoha alive. Dantes says, treating the word alive like vile and spits. In this situation, the kunai formation will work. Sasuke, you'll have front flank. Naruto orders. Sasuke just HNS, not really caring so long as he got to engage the enemy first. Sakura, you'll have right flank and Dantes will have left flank. I'll have back flank and will provide support. Naruto says. Sakura swallows her pride and agrees to Naruto's terms. CHA, don't get used to this Naruto baka. I'm only listening to you so I can have a front row seat at seeing Sasuke-kun save the day. Inner Sakura roars, the ear-splitting volume doesn't seem to bother outer Sakura, who just smiles merrily. With their plan made, Team 7 race towards Mizuki's location. Naruto makes sure to stay a good enough distance away so that his two new teammates can't sense the spike in chakra. Naruto takes another shot of Kyuubi's chakra as all his senses sharpen. Looking around the area, Naruto's kitsune eyes scans for any disturbances. Not finding any traps ahead of them, Naruto prepares for battle. Biting his thumb, Naruto slides his bloodied thumb over a fuin on his pants leg. With a puff of smoke, an ink brush and ink scroll appear as Naruto catches them. What are you going to do, graffiti him to death? Sasuke mocks. Sakura laughs at the crude joke, finding the thought totally up Naruto's alley. You know that's not a bad idea. Naruto says with a foxy grin. Said grin spells mischief as Sasuke and Sakura subconsciously move away from him. Once Mizuki is in sight, Naruto and Dantes stop and dash off in opposite directions. TSK cowards. Sasuke snickers at Naruto and Dantes. That just meant more awesome for him. Sasuke rushes towards Mizuki with a battle cry. Mizuki prepare to be defeated by an elite shinobi. Sasuke engages Mizuki with a flying snap kick, that Mizuki catches, only for Sasuke to launch a right hook. Mizuki smirks smugly as he catches Sasuke's fist. This is just too rich. Not only do I frame the Onigaki, but they send a group of academy students to bring me back. It's almost like Kami is blessing me with good fortune. Mizuki says, attempting to slam Sasuke on the ground, only to hear something whizzing through the air. It's thanks to years of training, that Mizuki evades a kunai to the head. With his attention elsewhere, Sasuke maneuvers his body in order to kick Mizuki in the face, freeing him from his grasp. Sasuke backflips away from Mizuki and begins a set of memorized hand seals. Mizuki easily recognizes the hand seals and prepares his counter. Almost at the same time, Mizuki and Sasuke finish their respective jutsus as both inhale deeply. Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu. Sasuke says, his cheeks bulging from the excess Katan chakra. Suetun, Teppadama. Mizuki says, needing water chakra and shooting a bullet of high-pressured water out of his mouth. Sasuke panics as the Teppadama races towards him. The Gokakyu takes a few seconds longer than he expected. Sasuke subconsciously adds chakra to his legs and leaps away from the Teppadama. It crashes against the ground and reduces the ground to a swampy moss. Finished with the build-up, Sasuke shoots out a decent-sized ball of fire that roars towards Mizuki. Mizuki can't escape in time as the fireball rocks his body with intense heat. Mizuki screams in agony as his body is burned to a crisp. Sasuke releases a sigh of relief, finding it strange he didn't find joy in his first kill. Just felt wrong. Upon further inspection, Sasuke's eyes widen when he sees a burnt log where Mizuki should be. But how? I saw him burn alive. Sasuke screams mentally. Searching his surroundings, Sasuke tries to stay mobile. He knows that ninja can come from any angle. Even a hand reaches from below and grabs Sasuke by the ankle, causing him to fall. The hand makes its grip iron strong before it drags him underground up to his head. Doton, Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, a simple D-rank jutsu and yet has deadly proportions. Allow me to show you why all Umbu are required to know this basic jutsu. Mizuki says with an evil smirk, pulling a kunai from his pouch. Mizuki crouches down, looking down at the mighty Uchiha with a cocky smirk. Did you really think you could stop me, kid? Uchiha or not, no one can stop me. Especially not some little upstarts. Mizuki says, punching Sasuke in the face, before he lowers his kunai to Sasuke's exposed neck. Hearing several things cutting through the air, Mizuki catches the shuriken Sakura threw at him. I guess the mighty Uchiha needed help after all, and if it isn't his #1 fan. How's about you sit back and watch me kill this prick? Mizuki says, why are you doing this, Mizuki-sensei? You were our sensei, we trusted you for 4 years. Sakura screams on the verge of tears. Mizuki just scoffs at the girl's weakness. A little girl like you could never understand Sakura. You need more than book smarts to make it in this world. With this scroll, I will become Kage. Mizuki yells with an evil laugh. Before he goes through some hand seals and places Sakura in AC rank genjutsu. Sakura's eyes widen for a second, before they glaze over and she passes out. Finally, all the power he deserved was in his hands. A scroll is useless to someone who seeks instant power. Naruto says, walking into the clearing. Before Mizuki can say anything, an army of Narutos walk out of the surrounding forest. What the hell is going on here? That's a B-rank ninjutsu, and to make so many is impossible for some Genyu. Mizuki yells, pointing at one of the Narutos. Said Naruto makes a hollow sphere of chakra, using both spatial manipulation and great control over his chakra. It took the entire 4 years of training to get to this point, but Naruto couldn't argue with the results. Naruto's control over chakra is high chunin, allowing him to make what he calls Fuin Mari. Dipping his pen into the ink scroll, Naruto elegantly writes a kanji on the sphere's surface and slams it on the ground. A sea of Fuin spill from the sphere and forms a perimeter surrounding the clearing. Dantes appears out from behind a tree and gives Naruto a knowing smirk. Sasuke, from his vintage, couldn't help but be shocked at the number of clones. I knew you were a Oni. No human could produce this many solid clones. Mizuki says, more than a little nervous. Seeing where Mizuki was going with this, Naruto summons a kunai from the seal inside his sleeves and tosses it at Mizuki. Mizuki expects the others to follow suit, but is both surprised and relieved when only the one Naruto attacks. Mizuki easily catches the kunai. Is that the best you boom? Mizuki is caught off guard as the kunai explodes in a shower of shrapnel and chakra. Chunks of metal cut into Mizuki's face. He screams, moving away from Sasuke. Naruto swiftly shunsins in a whirlwind towards Sasuke. I'm about to free you. My advice is to clutch everything. Trust me, you do not want debris going in the wrong hole. Naruto warns, before he places his hands on the ground. Expecting some kind of explosion, Sasuke heeds his words and clutches every muscle he can. Naruto feels for Mizuki's chakra, finding that it was only about 7 feet deep. Focusing spiraling chakra beneath Sasuke, Naruto frees Sasuke from the ground. Before Sasuke can even dust himself off, Naruto taps him on the shoulder. Excellent work, Sasuke. Thanks to your distraction, Dantes and I were able to set our trap. Your services are no longer needed. Naruto says with a poker face. Sasuke is both stunned and envious of Naruto's behavior. Is this the same Baka who just blends in with the crowd? Just how strong are you, Sasuke wonders, before he feels something tugging him by the shoulder. The next thing he knows, he is expelled away from Naruto and the clearing into the forest. What the hell? Sasuke asks, trying to run back to the clearing, only to be repelled by some invisible force. Sasuke punches and kicks the force field in every angle he can, before grunting. Whatever was going on he couldn't see nor hear it. Meanwhile inside the Fuin barrier, Naruto races over to Sakura, while Mizuki tries to pry shrapnel from his eyes. Kai! Naruto chants, sending subtle amounts of chakra into Sakura's delicate tenkatsu. The disturbance is enough to free her from Mizuki's genjutsu. Sakura's green eyes slowly return to before they widen with alert. Sasuke-kun, where is Sasuke-kun? I swear if he's hurt, I'll never forgive Naruto. Sakura, with tears flowing, shrieks. Who does this Ike think she is? Kyubi asks, leaking his yukai through Naruto's left arm. Droplets of blood seep from Naruto's pores and twirl as if caught on phantom winds. Hiding it from Sakura, Naruto places his hand on her shoulder. Don't worry, Sakura, I'll guide you directly to Sasuke. Naruto says with a grin. Before Sakura can question him, she is expelled from the clearing. On the other side, Sakura is reunited with her Sasuke-kun. Oh Sasuke-kun, I'm so glad you're all right. Sakura squeals, running to Sasuke with the full intent to glump. Sasuke glares at Sakura, stopping her in her tracks. With a dejected spirit, Sakura sits away from Sasuke. What the hell is going on in there? Why did Mizuki call Naruto a Onigaki? Who is Alexandros Uzumaki Naruto? Sasuke wonders, trying to glare holes in the strange barrier back inside the Fuin barrier. Mizuki finishes applying healing ointment to his face. Damn that Oni. He ruined my face, how can I return to my wife now? Mizuki roars in agony and rage. While Mizuki is distracted, Naruto focuses yukai through his left arm in the form of raging root chakra. The crimson chakra flares from his arm and takes the form of a chuckling Kyubi. Rising his hand above his head, the Kyubi appreciation soars into the barrier and splashes the clear barrier blood red. Sasuke and Sakura look inside the blood red dome in horror, who knows what was happening inside. Mizuki only had the use of his left eye, the rest of his face was covered in healing ointment. I'm going to kill you. Oni, Mizuki says, going from enraged to terrified. Standing behind Naruto was the Kyuubi with two larger-than-life tails swaying behind it. Ha ha ha, thank you Kit. It's been a while since you let someone into the Kishin's Denver. Let's have a little fun. Kyuubi roars maniacally. Kyuubi blends into the crimson surrounding, leaving only Mizuki and Naruto in the bloody red area. I won't fall for your cheap tricks, Oni Kitsune. Kai. Mizuki roars, sending a large burst of chakra outward to dispel the genjutsu. Only instead of freeing him, a claw of root chakra snakes out the depths of the realm towards Mizuki. Seeing through his good eye, Mizuki dodges to the side as the claws miss him by inches. Once Mizuki touches a horizontal surface, another claw appears from below. This time, the claw manages to nick Mizuki across the chest, his vest splitting in half and falls off him. Before he can recover, four more claws race towards Mizuki. Before the claws get within range, Naruto jumps out of them and kicks Mizuki on the right side of his face. The blow sends Mizuki tumbling on the ground and right into the swampy moss he created. Anytime now, Dantes-kun. Naruto tells Dantes via mental link. Dantes enters the barrier and unleashes mini Sure-Wan eyeball sculptures from his mouth pores. Before Mizuki can recover, he is swarmed by hundreds of Sure-Wan eyeballs that attach to Mizuki like molding clay. Damn it! Flithy vermin, get off me! Mizuki yells, trying to pry the Sure-Wan off of him. Freeing his hands, Mizuki swiftly flies through hand seals. Seeing this, Naruto sends one of the chakra claws at Mizuki, trying to stop him. Ha! Mizuame Nabara! Mizuki yells, building Suetun chakra in his gullet, and expels a sticky clear liquid from his mouth. Covering 20 square meters in the gloop, trapping Naruto and Dantes where they stood. Trying to pry their feet from the junk with chakra proves pointless. Mizuki pants for breath, an insane smile still on his face. He did it, he finally did it. The damned Onigaki and his Oni-loving clansmen were in his grasp. Now he could boom. Mizuki's screams of agony are deafened by the sound of hundreds of tiny firecrackers exploding directly on you. Mizuki falls to the ground, too numb from the full-body first-degree burns to even scream. Once Mizuki passes out from his injuries, the junk evaporates, freeing Naruto and Dantes. Naruto and Dantes high-five each other for a job well done, before shifting back to Shinobi mode. Mission complete. Naruto says into a headphone. There's a bit of static before Anko's voice comes through. Wow, it's only been 4 hours. Bring the team to the Konoha Intelligence Division, that is all. Anko says before hanging up. Naruto breaks the Fuin barrier, the surrounding dome shatters. Does anyone know where the Konoha Intel Division is? Naruto asks. To say Sakura and Sasuke were shocked was an understatement. Looking over at Mizuki, it looks as if he was set on fire and then put out. The only thing they could do was shake their head no. Naruto sighs, creates 4 Kage Bunshin, 1 for each of Mizuki's limbs. We should get going. We can never rule out someone waiting to ambush us and steal our bounty. Naruto says cautiously. Sasuke and Sakura gulp before getting information. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. If you want early updates, check out Patreon. This is Fox Sage, and I'm signing off.